today? Great. A little bit more about my background. Actually, business. First of all, has anyone here seen me speak before? Okay, you came back. That's a good sign. For those who don't know me, a little bit more about my background. Business actually has always been in my blood. At the age of 6, I started my first venture selling garden seeds and greeting cards door to door. At the age of 10, my interest in business was further sparked literally when I operated a small business out of my school locker selling fireworks to other 5th graders. At 11 years old, I began singing professionally, wound up doing dozens of national television and radio commercials, among them Pepsi, Fritos, Cheerios, Meow Mix, Burger King, a bunch of others. Actually made quite a bit of money as a kid doing that, which enabled me to pay for a private high school in New York City where I grew up, my university education at U of M Ann Arbor, and after graduating, I started a business right here in Michigan back in the late 1980s. It has become quite successful over the last 3 decades, and I'll touch on that a little bit before we wrap up. Now, before I launch into my seminar, may I have your permission to speak fast, keep it going at a good pace. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great, and the reason I do that is this. You know the average rate of speech for most people is about 150 words a minute. However, every one of us have the ability to easily listen at about 400 words a minute. Now, if I'm up here speaking at 150 words a minute, but you're listening at 400 words a minute, what starts to happen? You get bored, you daydream, you drift, you want to text, you go elsewhere. My job right now, I got to keep your attention right here the whole time. If I can fill the entire 400 words a minute, your brain won't have anywhere else to go. Other good thing is this, I can actually cover about twice as much information in half the amount of time, which is good time management, right?
Right.
And heck, if you can catch half of what I say, we're still leaving. You'll get used to me. All right, so let me take you back. First of all, I'm going to tell my story a little bit later. I want to get into some training first, just so I can get your attention, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story. So to begin with, what is your first impression of this guy right here? Okay, first impression.
He looks like Alan Rickman.
Okay. About his attitude. What kind of attitude does the guy have? Pompous. Yeah, I've heard that before. A little arrogant. Great proponent. Does he look like a little bit like a know-it-all? All right, how many know-it-alls in the room? Come on, raise your flags. Where are you know-it-alls? It's got to be one back there, okay. Hey, no finger pointing anybody. But hold on, even if you're a know-it-all, it's not what you know, is it? It's, well, the who, of course, is very important. I can't discount that. But the bottom line is what you know and use that really counts. For example, how many here know a whole lot more about diet and exercise than you actually use? Get the idea? So you're going to hear and see things today that you might have heard and seen before, but you got to ask yourself, am I doing that? Am I using that? Am I activating those ideas? So today you're going to hear some things you probably heard, but ask yourself, am I using it? Am I doing it? Plus, I promise I'll be delivering some things you've never heard before. That's why I call it advanced communication and sales and influence strategies. So moving right along, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is trust? When you first meet a brand new, it could be someone trying to sell their home that you want to buy, or it could be someone you're trying to sell a home to, or how important is trust when you first meet somebody in a business transaction? On a scale of 1 to 10? 10, it's critical. So with that in mind, what do you do in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes? When you first meet somebody, what do you do to try and get that trust going? Give me some ideas. You just met somebody, what do you do?
Show up on time.
Show up on time, that's a good idea. What else?
Polite.
Be polite, that's a good idea. What else?
Try to find something to identify them on.
In other words, like something in common with them, right? Yeah, like they play golf and you play golf. They're big into gardening and so are you. They love gourmet cooking and so do you. That's a great little rapport. What else?
Eye contact.
Some eye contact is a good idea, but not too much, okay? What else? What's that? Handshake is good. A good quality handshake is good. And we can do a whole 20 minutes on how to handshake. One other big one no one has mentioned, and that is ask questions, right? Asking questions help build trust. Well, of course, along with asking questions, a lot of people forget to do listen. You got to be a great listener as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of other nuances and things that you do to build trust and rapport. So keep doing what you've been doing. It's obviously brought you to a certain level of success so far. However, I've got some additional tools you can add to your toolbox that I guarantee will help every one of you to build trust way more quickly than ever before. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard of neuro-linguistic programming. Does that ring a bell for some of you? All right, well, otherwise known as NLP, it's really, I don't want to complicate it. It's really just, it's a branch of psychology. It explains many things, among them how trust and rapport are built and maintained. So years ago, researchers began to study what is rapport. And you know what they found after studying it? It's really just a natural process that evolves over time between two people, where the longer they've gotten to know one another, the more natural and comfortable they feel with each other. So like, think about you and your best friend, people you've known 10, 20, 30 years. They began to study people like that who are already in deep rapport, and they noticed some very interesting things about them. They noticed that once people are already in this deep state of rapport, they tended to take on similar physical body language characteristics as one another. They tended to take on similar communication patterns as one another. In essence, they sort of became like mirror images of one another over the long term once they fell into this deep state of rapport. So researchers further theorized They said, hey, if this is what happens naturally over time, what if we could very subtly duplicate the physical body language characteristics of another person when we first meet them? And what if we could very subtly duplicate the communication patterns of another person when we first meet them? And they found that by doing it the right way, you could dramatically increase the speed and the efficiency that you're able to build trust and rapport, and that's exactly what I'll teach you how to do here over the next several minutes. Sound good? Great. Before we get going, though, I'd like you all to do a quick little experiment with me, if you would. Would everyone please quickly make a circle like that with your hand? All right, everyone got that? All right, take this circle, place it on your chin. Don't move. Don't move. Where's your chin? Don't move. No, don't move. Don't move. No, because most of you were sitting there like that when I said chin. No, you can't move. Now, all right, look. I tricked you a little bit, yeah, but the bottom line is this. I said the word chin, and I did that at the exact same time, but the great majority of you followed what you saw, not what you heard. So what I've just proven to you is that body language speaks louder than words. Agreed? There have been a lot of studies on this. You might have heard of Dr. Albert Morabian, very famous professor at UCLA, did a bunch of studies on communication. His most famous study, here's what he did. He took communication, he actually broke it down into its three components to see how powerful each of them are. By the way, the three components of communication are body language, tonality, that's the way you say something, like how loud or how soft or how fast or how slow or where you put the inflection in the words, that's all tonality. And then of course you have the actual words that we use. So you've got body language, tonality, and words equaling a total of 100%. Based on Morabian's findings, what percentage do you think that the physical body language accounted for?
75.
Wasn't quite that high, because you remember, you still have two other components, but you're right, it was more than half. It was actually 55%, more than half just for the body language alone, which I proved a minute ago. All right, so that leaves what, 45% left. What do you think that the tonality accounted for? The way that we say something, what do you think that accounted for out of the remaining 45? 30. A lot of people say 25 or 30, but you know what? It was actually 38%. And a lot of people are like, wow, that much? Really? You sure? If you have any doubts about it, I'll prove it to you right now. In fact, we'll do it two ways. I'm going to say a phrase 5 times. Think of the meaning of what I say. The same phrase, same sentence. Think of the implied meaning each time I say it. Like I could say, I didn't say Johnny stole the money, implying, someone else might have said it. I didn't say it. Or I could say, I didn't say Johnny stole the money, meaning I may have implied it, but I didn't say it, right? I could say, I didn't say Johnny stole the money, implying what? Someone else stole it, right? I didn't say Johnny stole the money, implying he borrowed it, right? I didn't say Johnny stole money, he stole the car. You get the idea? So just by where we put the emphasis in the sentence can completely change the meaning of it. We'll do it one more way just for fun, just to really bring the point home. We'll do it as a group now. All together as a group, we're going to say a word, one word, 5 times, and each time we say the word, it'll mean something totally different by the way we say it, by the tone, by the inflection that we use, and you can do this with several different words and phrases in the English language. Let's take, for example, let's use the word O. Now, the word O is just a letter in the alphabet until you start putting inflection into it. So as a group right now, let's all say the word O together to mean, I understand. Oh. Now say the word O to mean, I really don't understand. Oh. Now say the word O to mean disgust. Oh. Disappointment. Oh. Excitement. Oh. I heard pleasure in there somewhere, but you get the idea. So you got 55% of our body language. You got 38% of the way we say something. What does that leave left for the actual words that we use, mathematicians? Not much. 7%. And of those 3 areas, which do most of us usually focus on when we're trying to build trust and rapport? Words. What we're going to say, the word. So in essence, we are ignoring 93% of our potential to build trust and rapport. All I'm suggesting, let's also learn how to tap into the other 2 areas, and that's what I'll teach you how to do right now. So remember, researchers proved that people who are already in rapport with one another tended to take on similar physical body language characteristics as one another. And how much was body language worth again? We got to start doing that with our prospects and people that are selling their properties and all the people we deal with when we first meet them. So you take any scenario, you've never met the seller or whoever you're dealing with, they've never met you, and it's your first encounter with this person, and they think you're going to try and convince them or sell them on something. Now, if people think you're going to try and sell them and they don't know you, they don't trust you, what kind of body language do they often snap into? All right, 3 of you did it all at once at the same time there. They all snapped into it. It looked a little bit like that right there, right? Now, what is that telling you? I don't believe you. I don't trust you. I've got my wall up. I've got my guard up. I'm not buying anything or selling anything right now, right? They're on guard. Now, what I suggest to you, if you want to build more trust with somebody like that, real casually, as you start to ask them questions, look for things in common, all the things we talked about earlier, just real casually, just converse with the person, real casually, just kind of cross your arms just like them, and subconsciously, they'll start to feel at greater ease with you. Why? Because you now have something in Common. We're talking about finding things in common. Now you're creating something common and something very powerful. Remember, body language was worth 55%. You're creating something very powerful in common. Now, obviously, you don't keep the person like this. Nobody's going to be buying any of your homes or renting from you or any of these other things when you're in this defensive body language position. So what you want to do, a few minutes later into the conversation, real casually as you're asking them more questions and going through whatever you would typically be asking them, just real casually just kind of uncross your arms and keep going with your presentation. And guess what? They'll do the same. 9 times out of 10, they'll uncross their arms right after you do. It's amazing how well this works. Now, once in a while, they don't. And if they don't, what I suggest you do, continue on for another minute or two. Then you kind of go back into it again. And then another couple of minutes later in the conversation, you kind of go for that second attempt. And quite often at that time, almost always, they'll uncross their arms. Now, something very interesting happens quite often. Let's say the person had their arms crossed. So you're getting to know them. You casually practice this technique by mirroring them and matching and crossing your arms. Now, right now, you've got this in common with them right now because their arms are crossed and yours are crossed. Quite often, that'll put them at ease. And guess what will happen? They'll uncross their arms first. And let's say, for example, now the prospect puts their hands on their waist. Well, if their hands are on their waist, you don't want to stay like this. You want to once again get into the position that they're in, but you got to be subtle about how you do it. I mean, you can't all of a sudden go like that, you know, because they're looking at funny, right? So stay like this. Don't be in a big hurry to shift positions. Continue on for another minute or two. Maybe use your hands as you often would to explain something. You drop them to the side. And another 30 seconds or a minute later, you just real casually kind of slip into it. And now look, here you are once again mirroring their body language, but you very subtly transition into it. And I know some of you are thinking, aren't they going to notice I'm doing all that stuff? Let me ask you, are people preoccupied these days?
Yeah.
Right? You know? The last thing they're paying attention to is what your body language is doing. They're not paying attention to that. They're so busy with so many other things going on, but guess who is paying attention? The subconscious mind of the prospect, the person you deal with, that's tuned into all this, right? And it's not just the arms, a lot of things. You ever meet with anybody at a conference room table or a kitchen table or at a desk or something, and your prospect, the person is like kind of leaning on a desk like that? If they're leaning on the desk talking to you, you better be over there leaning on the desk while you're listening to them, or the table, right? Or maybe they're in a hallway, you're talking to somebody in a hallway, and they're like kind of like leaning against the hallway wall. If they're leaning against the hallway wall chatting with you, you better be over there leaning against the wall while you're listening to them, right? Even more importantly, where do most of us get down to business? With the prospect. Someone can get that on the way home. At a table. Okay, let's do a little role play here. Can I pick on you? Sure. Perfect. I just need a chair here. Let me roll this one over. All right, put yourself in the shoes of the skeptical, pessimistic, untrusting prospect. You know, you're selling your home, but you don't really know if you want to sell it to me. You don't trust me at all. All right, so how's he going to be sitting? Is that about right? Does that look right? Arms crossed, sitting back, pretty typical. Yeah. Anybody can answer the question, right? Let's just say that it doesn't matter what we're buying or selling, it's irrelevant in this case. He's the buyer, I'm the salesperson, okay? Let's just look at it that way. So he thinks I'm trying to sell him something, he's in this guarded position, right? What makes him feel most at ease with me in terms of my body language? Is he most comfortable with me if I'm conversing with him in this body language position right here? Or is he a little more comfortable if I'm like this? Which one? The first one? Yeah, what's he thinking if I'm like this? Attack in his face, in his space? You want to know something though? I have watched so many presentations. I have been at offices where they've had mirrored walls where I could see the sales floor and the people couldn't see me. I've had hidden cameras set up at different organizations. And you want to know what? Most of us, we're not paying attention to this in the moment. We are so busy thinking about what am I going to say? What am I going to ask? What am I going to sell? What am I going to do? That we forget about this. And for a lot of us, because we're not aware of it consciously, they'll be sitting back. We'll be leaning on the table, elbows on the table, hands on the table. Even if they're not on the table, even in this kind of forward-leaning position. And in any of those positions, you're in their space, you're in their face, you're coming at them. Subliminally, it's very uncomfortable. So if they're sitting back in their chair, make darn good ensure you're sitting back in yours. Does that make sense? Yeah. But let's say they start asking you a bunch of questions, like, let's say it's like somebody who, I don't know, how much is that going to be? Or what's the payments going to be? Or what's this going to be? Or what's that going to be? And that's when you open up like a brochure of information or a folder. Now, if you open up a nice folder of information and put it in front of the person on the table, what does it quite often make them want to do? Lean forward. So go ahead and lean forward now and start looking at that, please. Now, actually lean on the table. Right, so if he's leaning forward looking at that, is he most comfortable with me back here where I was? Or does he prefer I'm actually here with him looking at that now? Here, right? What is he thinking if I'm still back here? I don't care, disengaged, disinterested. Hold on now. Seconds earlier, he was most comfortable when I was right here. But as soon as he came forward, I don't come forward with him, he thinks I'm disengaged or disinterested. So what I suggest you do, after your prospect comes forward, wait about 5 seconds, and then just kind of ease forward with them. And when you do, don't stare them down. Look at the paperwork to take the pressure off. Does that make sense? Now, you can do that like you properly should. But let's say all of a sudden the person's thinking like, kind of in each other's space a little bit. He's thinking, maybe I'm showing too much interest too early on. And what's that make him want to do? Lean back. So go ahead and sit back again. Now, if I sit right here where I just was, do you feel like once again I'm a little bit in your face? pulled on, though, a second earlier, he was most comfortable when I was right here. But as soon as he sat back, and I don't back off with him, he feels like I'm in his face again. Can you see what's going on here? So here's the deal. If you're not consciously aware of the forward-backward dynamic, listen, I promise, every time you meet with somebody, this forward-backward dynamic, it's happening. The question is, are you aware of it, or are you just winging it? Because if you're winging it, I promise there's times when they're forward and you're back, or vice versa, where you're losing trust, you're losing rapport, and it could be costing you the deal. Does that make sense? All right? Now, look, with all this body language stuff, I mean, you have to draw the line somewhere. If they've got like a nervous twitch or they're scratching themselves in a strange spot, don't mirror those things. But you do want to mirror as many things as possible, and I'm telling you, it'll help you to build trust way more quickly than ever before. So that was the body language component. Are there any questions on what we covered so far? All right, moving along. Tonality, what was that worth again? 38. All right, 38%. Now, the first part of tonality I'm talking about is speed. As you can tell, I'm known for speed. I get going a little 6, 7, 800 words a minute at times. And by the way, you're going to come across people like that. Where they come from, New York City, the East. Bottom line, if you got someone going faster, pick up the pace of your speech, because that's how they're wired. And they appreciate that if you can speak at that pace. I'm not saying do that. I'm insane at the level that I go. But the bottom line is pick up the pace a little bit, and you have the more rapport with them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So pick up the pace and keep it going faster. Cool? Yeah. All right, everything the exaggeration. You get the idea, if you're doing something who's obviously a little faster, just do the best you can to speed it up a little bit, because all things held equal, that'll make the difference for that type of person. All right? I mean, I grew up in New York City. That's how people are over there. So it's like, you've got to keep up with that, and, you know, if you want to do business with them. Cool? All right. Could somebody breathe for me for a moment? Anyone been breathing for me already? Thank you. That's how I stay alive. All right. Sorry, where was I? Oh, yes. Yeah, we also have other prospects who are thinking about selling their. All right, besides wanting to smack these people, what are we tempted to do? If they can't get the words out, what are we tempted to do? Finish their sentences for them. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge mistake. Don't ever finish anybody's sentence. It's rude. It's interrupting them. How's it feel when somebody finishes your sentence? That's so great. So what you want to do, let them go as slow as they want. Sit back and mirror their body language. When they're completely done babbling onto you, you want to respond back to them like this. You know, I think I've got a pretty good idea as to the type of space you're looking to rent. And what I would like to recommend, and you slow yourself way down just like them, they think to themselves, my goodness, you're like the first person who's really given me the time of day. I mean, everyone else is speeding me up, cutting me off, finishing my sentences, occasionally smacking me. You're the first person who's allowed me to communicate the way I naturally communicate. Can you see how this is going to make that person feel that way? Now, if you want to be really classy, now most people don't do this, if you want to be really classy, here's a little technique that you can use. And by the way, you should really use this with everybody, but especially with the slow-speaking people. After they've asked you a question, and it's your turn to answer the question, before you answer them, pause for 2 seconds. And then respond. By pausing for 2 seconds, you do 2 very important things. Number 1, you let the person know, I've really just listened to what you've just asked me. I've given it a couple of seconds of careful consideration. And now here's my intelligent response. I'm telling you right now, so many people are so quick with their cookie cutter answers that we as prospects, we feel like, come on, you didn't even really listen to that question. You had that answer way too fast on the tip of your tongue. I mean, face it, how many times have you guys heard that question? Hundreds. Everyone asks that question. How many times have they asked it? Once. We need to listen as if it's the first time we've ever heard it, if we're truly going to be authentic in the way that we respond to them, and ultimately in our relationship with the person. Other thing that pause does is it makes sure you haven't interrupted these people. I mean, these slow-speaking people, they breathe slow. They're just taking a breath in between 2 parts of their question, and you jump right in and cut them off. So practice the pause. It's a very classic way to communicate. Next part of tonality is volume. You ever know somebody has a little more volume than others? Right? You meet with one seller, and they're like, hey, how you guys get by, man? Come on in. Good to meet you. A little more boom in the voice, right? And you meet with a different person, and they're like, you hardly hear what they're saying. They're so soft-spoken. Come on, we come across all the time, don't we? So let's say somebody like that. They're really soft-spoken and quiet, low-key, and they greet you at the property, and they're like, and you say to them, hey, great, I'm really glad to meet you. I'm excited to. And you say you'll lose all rapport. Maybe you can have a heart attack if they have high blood pressure. Tone it down. You can still be enthusiastic, but you got to tone it down and start where they are. So if they are low-key and soft-spoken and quiet, bring your voice way down and say, just say what you normally say, but match their volume. Make sense? Vice versa, if you have somebody who's more gregarious, more boom in their voice, they're like, hey, have you guys get by? Come on in. Even if you're typically softer spoken, belt it out and say, hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself? Give them the same energy they gave you. Because when you do that, all of a sudden this light flashes in their brain. It's like, You're kind of like I am. You're a little like I am. Come on, if they start thinking from the get-go, you're like I am, you're like I am, you're like I am, are they more likely to want to do business with you? Yeah. Absolutely. People who are like each other tend to like each other, and it's been psychologically proven if they like you, they're much more likely to want to do business with you. Last part of tonality is inflection. And inflection is where we musically color our words. I mean, I speak with a lot of inflection. You notice my notes are going up and down all over the place when I'm talking. Meanwhile, somebody else could be telling you about the most exciting thing that ever happened in their entire life, and every word is coming out and saying, no, you never knows that. We call that a monotone communicator. So if you're dealing with something that's more monotone, you want to try to converse with them in a more monotone way. Vice versa, you got somebody put for inflection in their voice, you pull it from your voice. It's just one more way you can be just like them. People who are like each other tend to like each other. Now, sometimes at this part of the seminar, somebody's thinking, Michael, isn't there something a little bit funny about this, kind of mimicking and mirroring people, something weird about that? And actually, I think it's the opposite of that. I don't know if anyone here has ever been to Japan, but in Japan, if we go to Japan, what is one of the customs that we're expected to do? Bow. Are we making fun of them and mimicking them? No, it's a sign of respect. You got a slower communicator, you slow down a little bit, that's a sign of respect. You got somebody sitting back in their chair, you back off in your chair, that's a sign of respect. Look, do you consider yourself to be a multifaceted communicator? If so, you should have the ability to speed it up a little bit, slow it down a little bit, get a little bit louder, get a little bit softer. Use your body language in different ways. That's what being an extraordinary communicator is all about, an extraordinary salesperson. And let me remind you something really important here, okay? Here's how many people make decisions in this day and age, okay? Let's say you just fixed up your house and you're trying to get a renter in there, okay? So, like, let's say my wife and I are shopping to rent a home. You know, we'll meet with you and see your property. We may meet with another person with a home that they're trying to rent, and we'll see their property. And then my wife and I will get together afterwards and say, you know, I just felt more comfortable. You want to increase your sales? You want to have more renters in your properties? Learn how to make people feel more comfortable. And the majority of what we're talking about in tonight's seminar is geared toward exactly that goal. What's the final component of communication? What were they worth again? Still important, though. Very much worth paying attention to. Here are some really good ideas that you can use to build more trust and rapport using the words. You ever notice everyone has like a big favorite fancy word they like to throw around? I call it a $20 word. Who has a $20 word they like to throw around? Anybody got a $20 word for me today? You know what I mean? You know what I mean. That's my word, man. But like a bigger word, you know, like
diabolical.
Diabolical. There's a good one right there. What's that? Flabbergasted is a good one. I heard a guy the other day, he's like, man, we got a lot of synergy going on here. He liked the word synergy. I used one earlier. Did you catch my word? I used the word gregarious. That was my little $20 word for the seminar. I heard this other guy say, we have a plethora of options for you to write. This other lady said, it would behoove you to do this, it would behoove you to do that, she was a behoover. But here's my point. If you hear someone use a bigger or an unusual word like that, what you want to do a little bit later in the conversation, you use the same big word they used, and they think to themselves, you're just as smart as I am using that same big word. You're all right. I like you. But make sure you know what the word means. Excuse me, I'm going to go use the plethora. I'll be right back. But if you know what it means, it's a great way to build rapport. Other thing is this. Pay attention to people's choice of words. In the English language, we have so many different words that mean the exact same thing. For example, by the way, that's my daughter, Luna. She was 11 days old when we had that picture taken of her. But real quickly, what's another word for baby? Real quick, another word for baby. Child. Infant. Daughter. Sibling. Toddler. Newborn. Curtain climber. Ankle biter. Tax deduction. And all the rest. But here's my point. Let's say you're meeting with a young couple, and they're thinking about renting with you or something, and they happen to have a little baby. They're like, oh, we really want to get in there soon because we just had a newborn. Now, where do you think they got the word newborn from? Where do most of us get most of our vocabulary from in life? Parents. Our core vocabulary is from our parents, right? That's what our core. That's probably where they got the word newborn. So when you're following up with them a few days later, like they asked you to, you want to say, by the way, tell me, how's your newborn? But what do most people say? How's your baby? Don't make that mistake. They use the word newborn. You use the word newborn because subliminally it'll make you feel more like family. And if you're thinking, like I hear from somebody, oh, come on, Michael, that's just a little tiny thing. You know what my answer to you is? You're right, it is a small thing. And so is sitting back in your chair because they're sitting back. And so is softening your voice because they speak softer. These are all little things we're talking about tonight. But when you pile enough little things on top of one another, what do they become? A big thing. But let me remind you, it doesn't even need to be a big thing. Now, come on, look at the Olympics, the Olympics. In the swimming competition, what is the difference between the number one and the number two swimmer in the Olympics?
Like 3/100ths of a second.
3/100ths of a second. It's the tiniest little nothing. And let me remind you, in your game, Sorry, there's no bronze or silver. It's gold or nothing. So you better make sure you're doing every little thing you can to gain even the smallest advantage, and these are the techniques that will separate you from the average people out there. Now we're going to flip the coin over right now. We're going to talk a little bit about powerless words, words that rob us of our credibility. Half the time we're not even aware that we're using them. I'll give you a couple of examples I'm sure many of you are guilty of. Have you ever said throughout the course of your business day, I'll have to? Hey, I'll have to check and see if that apartment's still available. Hey, I'll have to find out if we can meet this Thursday at 5. I'll have to find out if she's in as soon as I see her, I'll have her call you. I'll have to, you ever say I'll have to something? It's very common, I hear it all the time. Now think about it for a minute. When you say to somebody, I'll have to, whatever, what is the undertone to I'll have to? It's like I'll have to, but a little louder, please.
I don't want to.
I don't want to. That's what the undertone is. Hey, I have to do that, but I really don't want to. It's like when we were kids, what do we say? I have to clean my room, but I don't want to. I have to do the dishes, but I don't want to. Do I have to, Mom? You only have to do stuff you don't want to do. So when you say to when you say to somebody, hey, I'm going to have to find out if that space is still available, but I don't want to. I mean, is that what you want them hearing? Or I'll have to see if I can show that to you on Friday, but I don't want to. You don't want them hearing that. So what would you say instead? Replace it with what?
I'm happy.
I'll be happy to is a great example. I'll be glad to show that to you. I'd like to look into that for you. I'd love to. I'd love to. I'd like to. I'd be glad to. I'll be happy to. Or it would be my pleasure to. Any of those 5 are great, but not I'll have to. Because when you say I'll have to, it makes your face look like that. All right? Now this woman was just asked to be put on hold. How many of you here like being put on hold? Do you like that? Oh, you don't like it? Well, then why are you still using it? Get rid of it. Nobody wants to hear hold anymore. What do you say instead? I recommend something like, that'll take me about a minute to research. Would you like to wait on the line? Or I'll be happy to call you right back. I use wait on the line, not hold. I tell them how long it's going to take. And I'll say, I'll be happy to call you back. Most people are like, I'll have to call you back. Right? If you ask them, hey, do you mind holding? What are they going to say? They're going to say no, but do they mind? Yes. So you got conflict right from the get-go. Eliminate that powerless language, right? Now, the next idea, to be completely honest with you, is one of those things that when I hear it, I think quite candidly, where do people come off saying this one? I mean, to tell you the truth, we should have learned this back in Sales 101. Now, I don't know who in the room can tell the other people in the room any of the 3 things I've just said in the last sentence you should never let come out of your mouth. That was after the whole I'll have to thing. There it is. Thank you very much. I said to tell you the truth. I said to be honest with you. I said to be candid. People say that all the time. To be honest with you, you might want to consider the property I have over here. To be honest with me, you've been lining me up till now? That's what it implies, right? To tell you the truth, you might want to consider paying the whole 3 months in advance because you can get a little bit better deal that way. Tell me the truth. What have you been doing up till now? Hey, to be upfront with you. What do you mean to be upfront? I thought you were being upfront the whole time. To be candid. What do you mean to be candid? It's affecting your candor from the get-go. So no more to be candid, to be upfront with you, to be honest, honestly speaking, to tell you the truth, quite truthfully, trust me. All those they rob you of your credibility, and they literally make your nose grow. So get rid of that powerless language. Let's see, I'm going so fast, I'm losing myself. We're still on words, yes?
Yes.
And what do we say words are worth again?
7%.
That's it? 7%?
Yep.
I guess we can just say whatever the hold on. In an email, can people see your body language moving in the email? No. Can they hear how loud or fast you're speaking in the email? No, unless they use all caps, which is unlikely. So in an email, what might the words be worth? A lot more, right? In a headline and an advertisement or something like that, when you're having your apartment, your home that you're trying to rent out, do you write the headline for that? Right? You better make sure that is, let me get to the next slide here. You better make sure that is moving people emotionally. I'm going to show you a quick video here that illustrates this really well right now. How do we move people emotionally when the words really count? Okay? Check out this short video. I think it'll inspire you. I just want to make sure the speaker is turned on, and it is. Let's check our volume, and here we go.
same, but different words.
Thanks, Lou. Come on, would that make a difference if you were walking by? All right. So the question is, how are we moving people emotionally when it really counts? So, for example, you just fixed up this home that you're hoping to rent out. The headline of that rental property better be emotionally grabbing if you want me to come look at it. So, something bad is like, 2-bedroom, 1-bath starter home. There's nothing emotional about that. There's nothing emotional. So how would you make that more emotional? Create a lifetime of memories in your first beautiful rental paradise or something like that. Is much more compelling than, just starter home or something like that. So think about headlines of advertisements, headlines of anything you're doing, subject lines of emails. How are we moving the person emotionally to want to take action? Make sense? All right. So moving on now, we're going to talk about a little bit into meta-programs. Some of you might have heard of meta-programs. It's another part of neuro-linguistic programming. And we're going to get into a couple of these. I have time for 2 tonight. The first one I'm going to teach you is, by the way, if you look at the glass, it's half full or half empty, right? And what's the difference? Is one person positive and one negative? Is one an optimist and one a pessimist? It goes beyond that. It is literally how people are wired. And once you understand this, you will be more influential and more persuasive than ever before. So the first one I'll teach you is called the direction meta program, and it shows you that there's 2 forces that push people in a direction. Like, let's say 2 people are flat broke. One of the people, their mindset, dude, I am so broke right now, man. I gotta get out of debt, man. I gotta get out of debt. I am really struggling, man. I gotta get out of debt. All their mental focus on getting out of debt. Another person flat broke, their mindset, they're like, dude, man, I gotta make $5,000 this month. One way or another, I'm making $5,000 this month. All their mental focus on making money. Right? One wants to get out of debt, the other one wants to make money. Can you see them all trying to go the same way? But they're motivated by different forces, right? Your clients fall into the same schools of thought. Some of your renters want a really big yard, right? Some of your renters don't want a real tiny yard. What's the difference? Same thing, right? Some of your renters want to be in a really good school system, right? Some of your renters don't want crappy schools, right? It's the same thing. No matter what it is, I don't care what the benefit is, I can show you the benefit of having it or the cost of not having it. Agreed? So you need to figure out which way is this person wired and then change the approach. I'll give you a real example. Let's say you have 2 prospects both looking to rent a home. Both of them described the exact same type of home. They wanted something with a big yard. They wanted something in a good school system. They wanted something that didn't need a lot of repairs, and they wanted something that was really bright and light in the living room. So you call them both up. You're like, I just purchased or whatever. I just finished completing the most amazing property. It meets all of your criteria. Let me tell you a little about it. It's got a huge corner lot. It's got this giant living room with a super floor-to-ceiling windows. It's super bright. It's in the highly acclaimed Northville school system, and it's got everything's like brand new windows and everything. Would you like to take a look at it? And one of the people's like, oh my God, that sounds perfect. Can we come see it tonight, tomorrow? How soon can we get in there? And the other person who was asking for the exact same type of thing says, sounds interesting. Maybe we'll get over there in the next few weeks. You're like, what? Next few weeks? What's wrong with this idiot? Well, you don't say that to them, but you think that. Now, why was one person like, hey, can we get in there tonight? And the other was like, maybe in a few weeks. Why? Because they're wired differently, and all you did in your description on the phone to them was push on the one button. The 2 button choices are towards what they want or away from what they don't want. So which buttons did we push? Huge corner lot with a big yard. Is that towards or away from what they wanted? Towards. Highly acclaimed Northville schools. Towards or away from? Towards. Brand new windows throughout the house. Towards or away from? Towards. Super bright living room. Towards. All you did was towards. And the person moving away from, maybe I'll get in with you in a few weeks. But you didn't give me anything to move away from. If you know you have somebody who's wired the other way, you better change your approach. So if I knew somebody's wired the other way, here's what I'd say to them. I'd say, you know what? I just put a rental on the property, on the market that meets all your criteria, but it actually meets a lot of my other people's criteria and a lot of people in general looking, so it may be gone within a week or so. Now, what have I just created? Urgency and a fear of losing it to somebody else, right? That motivates people like that. Now, here's how I'm going to describe it to that person. Let me tell you a little bit about the rental. First of all, it is not stuck between 2 houses super close. Happens to be on a really big corner lot with a giant yard. The other thing I want you to know is you don't have to worry about your kids getting a subpar education at this property because it happens to be located in the highly acclaimed Northville school system. The other thing I want to tell you, you're not going to feel like you're living in a cave in this one because it happens to be floor-to-ceiling windows in the great room. And the other thing is that you're not going to have to worry about opening and shutting the windows or getting in and out because it's got brand new windows throughout the entire house. So would you like to look at it before somebody else rents it? Can we get in tonight? Can we get in there right away? How soon can we see it? Motivates them right away because you tapped in the way they're wired. Does that make sense? So now that we understand there's really two different ways that people are wired in this realm, what do we need to know now? Figure out which way they're wired. That's exactly right. And it's really easy to do. All you have to do is ask them one simple question, and here it is. What's important to you about whatever? Hey, what's important to you about the school system? What's important to you about your neighbors? What's important to you about the size of the house? What's important to you about the yard? What's important to you about this? Anything. What's important to you about? And you just listen to the answer. You could say, what's important to you about the neighbors? And one person says, well, we definitely don't want to be around loud people. We're quiet. We go to bed early. We don't want to be near loud neighbors. Right? Is that toward or away from? Away from. That's right. You ask another prospect the same question, they're like, we're hoping to be near friendly people. We love to barbecue in the summer, make some new friends. Towards or away from? Towards. Again, when you start getting good at this, you'll know which way they're wired. Try it on your kids. Hey, what's important about school? Well, getting good grades so I can get into a good college. What's important about school? Getting out. Towards and away from. Make sense? The other metaphor I'll teach you is the locus of control. This is where people's decision-making comes from, whether it's internal or external. Like this guy has an external locus of control. He's like, hey, what do you think? Do you think this property's good for me? Do you think it's going to be the right place for me to rent? Do you think, it's kind of like what do you think kind of a mode? Meanwhile, there's this guy, look like he needs any help making a decision. Not really, he knows what he wants, right? Meanwhile, a lot of people selling to someone like this make a huge mistake. They'll say to a guy like this, you know what, this unit I have over here, man, I think it's going to be perfect for you. Let me tell you something. You got a guy like that, you don't ever say, I think this is going to be great for you. You know what he's thinking inside? He's like, I really don't give a shit what you're thinking. That's how he's wired. So you would never say, I think this could be perfect for you. Instead, what would you say to a guy like that instead? Other ideas? What do you think is the second best way? You want to hear the best way? Here's the best way. This particular home that I have available over here, it meets all of your criteria, but you're the only one who knows if it's going to be right for you. They love that phrase. The other thing I'll say to a guy like that, this particular property meets all your criteria. I really want to show it to you, but I'm just going to let you be the judge. Let you be the judge, and you're the only one who knows. Those are the two things you say to them. My job is to show you properties that meet your criteria and let you be the judge. So, all right. Meanwhile, you try that with him. Hey, man, you're the only one who knows if this home's going to be right for you. He'd be like, I really don't know, and he goes home to mom. So with him, you change the approach. With a guy like that, you would absolutely say, hey man, I really think this property is going to be perfect for you. I highly recommend it. Have you read the reviews? There's actually reviews on this subdivision. People are so happy living here. And then if you have another person with you, hey, don't you think it's going to be great for him as well? So it's external feedback from him, from her, from him, testimonials and feedback on what you think. You pour all that on with a guy like that, but you would never, ever do that with somebody like that. Change your approach based on who you're dealing with. Make sense? Yeah. All right, how many remember what a phone booth was? Yeah. All right, interesting research was done at a phone booth where they actually hid, the researchers took a quarter, the coin, and they hid the coin about right there on the little shelf, and then they would hide, and somebody would make a phone call, and they'd see the quarter there, they'd snatch it up and put it in their pocket. As soon as the person picked up the quarter and put it away, the researcher would run up to them and say, excuse me, I just left my quarter on the phone, but do you happen to see my quarter? Now, this was in New York City, but what percentage of the people admitted it and gave back the quarter? They only approached people who took it. Now, what percentage admitted it and gave back the quarter? What's that? 10%. Cynics. What else? What do you think? 30%? Wow. New York, okay, 1%. Actually, you're all in the range. What's that? It was 23%. Which means 3 out of 4 people had the quarter and said, nope, didn't see your quarter. Now, here's what the researchers did next. Here's what they did next. This is really interesting. They took the quarter now, they set it back right there on the shelf there, and then they would hide, and the person, can I get a volunteer? Would you come up here and volunteer? Steal the quarter, please. Steal the quarter right over here. They'd run up to the person, actually, stay right there and steal the quarter. I'm going to come up to you right here on this side. They'd run up to the person and say, excuse me, I accidentally left my quarter in the phone booth. I really need to make another call. Do you happen to see my quarter? Now, what did I do different? Anyone notice? I touched her on the elbow for less than 2 seconds. That's what the researchers did. That was the only difference. The phrase they used was identical to the first example with 23%. Oh, you have to see my quarter. I really need to make another call. Now, based on that, what percentage now gave back the quarter?
85.
68. It went from 23 to 45 percentage points higher just by a little touch on the elbow. Now, did I strong arm her into it? No. Why did she give back the quarter in the second case? Why? Well, it's not about feeling sorry.
Personal.
Body language?
Well, no, it's not about body language.
You got more personal passion.
It's, you want to know what the word is? It's human connection. Human connection. And you know what the most interesting part of the study is that afterwards they told the people, hey, you were just part of a little study, and they told them exactly what happened. They were like, really? And then you know what? Half the people in the second group said, they didn't touch me. Oh, yes, they did. So they didn't even realize they had been touched. And believe me, I've done this seminar all the time, and I'll even do it, and the person says, you didn't touch me. And everyone said, yeah, he did. You didn't realize that I did either, did you? She didn't realize it. But think about this, it changed their behavior, because the results of the percentage that gave it back, even though they didn't realize it, just the touch changed their behavior. So what am I suggesting? Touch your prospects more. Careful. Careful with this one. But the rule is, here's the rule, and you'll never have a problem with it. Here's the rule. Hear me well. No more than 2 seconds. Elbow or the forearm is fine. Was that offensive in any way? No. No one's going to me too you for touching their elbow or their forearm for less than 2 seconds. You get the idea? All right. Give her a hand. Thank you for helping out. So here's how you want to use this technique. You know the moment when somebody's about to make a decision? Like, so, are you ready to sell the house? You know, you want to buy that house really bad. So are you ready to sell it? So that's when I'd use it. You know, would you like to go ahead and allow me to be the new honorary owner of this wonderful home? You just do a little touch at that moment when they're about to make a decision. It's not like when you first meet somebody, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You know? You don't do that, but you do it at the right time. And it can, look, they made a 45 percentage point increase in the streets in New York City. You think it might make a little difference in your ability to connect with somebody? Believe me, it does. So try it, put it into action. You'll be amazed at how well this works. All right, moving along. We are going to talk about, where did I put my controller? Oh, wait, we're here, okay. I get all of the business, sometimes lose my point, lose my spot where I am. Thank you cards. How many of you send out thank you cards to people after they've sold you a home, or they rent from you, or whatever it might be? And what do most people do with your thank you cards? Throw them away. Hopefully they read them first, right? I'm not saying don't do thank you cards. I'm saying change the way you do them. Before you send anybody a thank you card, you better darn well have asked them a question like this. I like to ask the question, hey, you know, I'd love to get to know my renters more, or I'd love to get to know my, whatever you call the person. Just curious, what do you love to do when you're not working? Like for fun, what do you do outside of work? If I ask you that question, how would you answer? Boating, anybody? Golfing, swimming, camping, snowmobiling, traveling, gourmet cooking, gardening. Everybody got their thing, right?
Right.
You ask me that question? Oh, I'm going to answer you real fast. My passion is deep sea fishing off the coast of Florida. I go on a regular basis. I was there last weekend. I caught a bunch of big fish last weekend. I go on a regular basis. People are like, man, that's you up there. I don't know, this projector's a little bit weak here. But you look much heavier there. Actually, yeah, I lost 20 pounds, and I've kept it off now for over 2 years, and that seminar comes up at 8:30. No, but really, if you know that I love fishing, and that's my passion, and you wanted to send me a thank you card, go ahead and send me the card. Meanwhile, what's my thank you card going to look like? Oh, yeah, it's got a fish right on the cover. Yeah? Yeah, I got you this card just for the hell of it. Now, this one actually says, holy mackerel, it's your birthday. Now, let's back up a little bit. When you ask the person, hey, what do you love to do when you're not working? And they're like, oh, fishing in Florida is my thing, man. I love it. Can we agree that was a few weeks ago? You know, you're not going to send them the card later. It was a few weeks ago. Do you think they remember you asking that question a few weeks ago?
No.
They don't remember you asking the question. And now they get this in the mail. What's their first thought? How did you know? How did you know I love? Did I tell you that? How did you know, man? You're awesome. That's blow their mind number 1. You want to hear blow their mind number 2? Here's what the card says. Dear Michael, thank you so much for putting your trust in me. I'm so glad you sold us the home, or that you you rented from us, or whatever you're trying to. As a token of my appreciation, I've dropped a magazine subscription in the mail to you to Sport Fishing Magazine. Enjoy it with my compliments, sincerely, and you sign your name. I would be like, oh my God, you got me a subscription to Sport Fishing Magazine? Oh man. No, I'd be blown away by that. I know I would. You want to know how I know that? Because I actually had a realtor do it for me. And you want to know what? Every time I hear my friends say, hey, Michael, I'm getting ready to move out of my apartment and buy a house. Oh my God, remember the guy that gave me the magazine? Man, you got to call Levin. He's awesome. He's your realtor, man. You got to call Levin. And my friend's like, well, I'm already talking to this other woman. I'm like, no. You're going to call Levin. Dude, if you don't call Levin, man, we're not friends anymore. No, I am fighting to get that guy business now. By the way, how often do I think about Levin, the guy that gave me the magazine? Every month when that magazine comes. What does a magazine subscription like that, a regular typical magazine, cost approximately? Well, this one, as you can see, it's $9.97 a year. For $10 a year, you own me. You think I'm going somewhere else? No way, and I'm going to fight to get you business. Is that a great idea? Listen, and this is another reason we got to keep going to seminars, getting better, improving ourselves, picking up new skills. Because if you don't do that, you know where you're going to be stuck? You're going to be stuck running with the pack. Most people are running with the pack, running with the pack. Where do you want to be? Head of the pack, leading the pack. I think most people are running with the pack because they get into real estate investing or whatever other industry they're in, and they kind of look around, what does everyone do? What do they all do? What does everyone do? And they're all copying each other. Obviously, there are certain smart things that every investor should do, but the most successful investors, they're innovative, they're clever, they're coming up with innovative ways of finding properties and doing the different things that they do that are different than the average people. You got to be different. I'm going to share a few ideas, examples of being different. It may or may not apply to you, but they're different. So, for example, there was a landscape company I heard about in San Antonio, Texas, and the owner, he'd go out to lunch every day in downtown, and after lunch, into just a digested meal, he'd usually walk around for 20 minutes or a half an hour, just walk around downtown, and when he would see a parking meter with a car, a good-looking car there, and the meter was about to expire, he'd put 50 cents or $1 in there, and then crank up the meter, and then he'd put on the windshield exactly what looked like a parking ticket. And people would get back to their car, they'd be like, son of a parking ticket rack. And then they'd pick it up, they'd flip it over, and it said, relax, this is not a parking ticket. We were walking by, noticed your meter was about to expire, took the liberty of putting some money in there to save you the hassle of getting a parking ticket. Compliments of Schreiber's Landscaping Service, and in essence, it was their business card. Now, if somebody did that for you, how many people would you tell about that? Everybody. If you needed landscaping, might you call them? Would you keep this? Innovative, different, separates them from the competition. Good idea?
Yeah.
All right. And I'm not saying do that one. Come up with your own. I'll give you one more. The real estate agent that gave me the magazine, okay, this is his business card, okay? It is a full-size, heavyweight silver dollar-sized coin. It is heavier than a silver dollar. Okay? It's got his face engraved in steel. It's got his phone number, his URL on there. Who's throwing this one away? Nobody. Okay? Now, obviously, you're not going to give these out to everybody. I mean, when you have that, whether you're looking for a high net worth investor or somebody who's got a lot of homes that they might be selling that you want to buy or whatever, somebody you really want to connect with and make a big impression on, you give them this card and they're like, dang, that's your business card? Wow, that's super creative. You're like, if you thought that was creative, think of all the ways I'll be able to do whatever, whatever you're trying to accomplish with that. You get the idea? Innovative, different, separates you from the competition. And again, I'm not saying do this one, although this is a cool idea. You can steal any of these ideas that you want. But there's a million ideas out there. You just got to be innovative. You got to think of the ideas, and that's what will separate you from the competition. Make sense? And sometimes it's not even a matter of being different. Sometimes it's just a matter of intention. I'm going to be the #1 investor in my area. I'm going to be this or that. And you just intend it, and sometimes that's enough to cross the finish line. I'll give you an example right here. I'm going to show you a quick video clip. This is Jack Canfield. He is the co-creator. And by the way, Mark, can we keep the lights off during the video? I'm going to show just a couple quick video clips. He's the co-creator of all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And this is him telling his favorite story ever. And I must say, it's one of mine. Let's watch.
Now, here's my favorite story in the whole world that I've learned in the last couple of years from the Chicken Soup book that we're doing. Here's a guy, his name's Cliff Young, lives in Australia, and he wants to go run a race. He's always wanted to run a race. Finally, he shows up at this race. It's a 6.5 day, 875 kilometers, about 650-mile race. He's never run a marathon. He's never run a 10K. People are going, what, are you serious? Why are you here? There's no way you could possibly do this. He said, no. I know I'm going to do it. Well, what makes you think you can? He said, I'm a farmer, and I don't have a horse, don't have a tractor. What I do is I chase my cows around. Sometimes I have a sheepdog on the other side, and we have to run. Sometimes for 2 days, I don't get any sleep. I just have to run because there's a storm coming. Got to get them all in for the pastures. He said, I think I can do it. They thought he was crazy. All the other guys are wearing Nike, Puma, Asics, Reebok running gear. They start off the race, and they're really going fast. He shows up at the start of the race. He's wearing Oshkosh overalls, a white T-shirt, construction boots with galoshes on them in case of rain, he said, a baseball cap, and some sunglasses. Now, when everyone else took off, Cliff was running like this. They called it the Cliff Young Shuffle. But see, Cliff had an advantage that nobody knew about. In fact, Cliff didn't even know about it. The advantage was he'd never talked to an extreme racer. He'd never talked to a coach. He'd never read Runner's World magazine. He'd never read a book on running. He'd never talked to another elite runner. He didn't know that when you run a long-distance race like this, you run for 18, sleep for 6, run for 18, sleep for 6, run for 18, sleep for 6. And he was so far behind everybody that when they went to sleep the first night, there was no one awake to tell him to stop. And he just kept running. He ran nonstop without sleep for 5.5 days and broke the record for that race by 12 hours. Don't you love it? Now, what does that tell us? It tells us that our beliefs about what's possible could be a limitation.
Could be. It's our beliefs about what's possible that is our limitation. And in just a minute, I'm going to go through what I call the 5 action strategies for taking your life to the next level. That's going to be an amazing way to get you to that next level. Before I do that, I want to show you one more fun video clip, and I'm going to show a video right now, Mark. Anyone recognize this guy right here? Who's that? Grant Cardone. He's one of the hottest speakers on the circuit. This is him recorded live at one of our events, and this is him telling his approach to running with the pack. Let's watch.
Okay, I don't want to drive with the pack. I don't want to ride with the pack. Okay, competition's an unhealthy thing. It's a terrible thing. It's terrible. It's a sin to compete. You don't want to compete. You want to dominate, own a sector. Okay, a police officer pulls me over. You were speeding. Yes, sir. I know that. I knew that 3 miles before I ran into you. First rule of selling. What is it? Always, always, always agree with your client. Okay. I have a customer now. He's called a policeman. He says, man, you speed, man. Sir, I knew that 3 miles before you pulled me over. Did you get me when I was topping out? Huh? Did you get me when I was really hammering down? Man, this is a new car, dude. I've been trying for 3 days not to speed in it, and today it took me over, man. Okay? Huh? Did you clock me at 140? He says, no, man, I got you at 112. Dude, you should have seen me a mile before that. I was freaking hitting it, dog. I've been trying not to. I couldn't help you. See, his job now is to give me a ticket. Man, you were speeding, man. I know that. I know I was speeding, man. Why are you going so fast? Dude, I was driving around with these other people. These people are crazy. I had to get out in front of them. I don't want to ride with them, man. I'd rather get a ticket. Because that's the middle of the pack. Right? You want to get out in front. Or you want to get a driver, one of the two. I want to get out in front. Would you agree? I want to get out in front of the traffic. So once you get a speeding ticket. What if you're going the wrong direction, but you're going fast? At least you find out, son. Go fast, baby. Go fast, man. You want to go fast. Speed is power. You want to go as fast as you can at any object.
Yeah, Grant Cardone, he was awesome. He was absolutely amazing. Lights, please. Yeah, he was great. And we're hoping to bring him back again. All right, so the last section we're going to get into, which I call the 5 action strategies for taking your life to the next level. Let me give you a little bit of background, because a lot of you don't know me and what I've done. It was back in 1980, late 86. I responded to a classified ad in Ann Arbor. The Ann Arbor News was around at the time. I was looking for free kittens. I showed up at a gentleman's house who had the free kittens. I met him and his family in a nice upscale neighborhood in Ann Arbor. He turned out to be a Dale Carnegie instructor. He was really into personal and professional development. He had a giant library on his wall with all these books, and then there was another bookshelf with all these boxes that were like plastic cases with spines of different titles. They didn't look like books, though, and I started asking, what are those things there? He's like, oh, those are personal and professional development cassette programs. If you don't know what cassettes are, we'll cover that later. But he said, I said to him, well, what's that all about? Well, they teach you, how do you grow your business? How do you be more effective in sales and influence? How do you become a better leader? How do you stay more motivated? How do you create a larger vision for your life and manage all these different ideas? I was like, wow, they didn't teach me that kind of stuff at U of M. I spent $50,000 on my education, probably the equivalent of $200,000 in today's dollars. I was never exposed to those kinds of ideas. Tell me more. He said, rather than let me tell you more, let you borrow one of the programs. And he gave me a program by Mark Victor Hansen, who later became the co-creator of all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. I got to tell you, it blew my mind. He talked about goal setting, creating a bigger vision for my life, and all these concepts I'd never heard before. I got so pumped up and excited. I went back a week later, Darren, thank you so much. That was amazing. Can I borrow another one? He loaned me Tony Robbins. A week later, Brian Tracy, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Dennis Waitley, Jim Rohn, and Les Brown, and on and on and on. And over the course of 6 months, I wound up borrowing every program. I became a human sponge. I got so engaged and motivated and inspired by this stuff, I said, I got to start a club for positive people. I want to bring all the positive people together. And you know what? At my club, we're going to get these speakers to come and talk to the group. And then I found out how much they charge. I was like, man, we're going to have a little bigger group. Initially, I envisioned a group about this size right here. But when I found out how much they charge, I expanded my vision. A bigger group was still going to do it. People told me I was crazy, it's never going to work, and this and that. But I did it anyway. And here I am, 31 years later, still crazy and still doing it. And it's been wildly successful. We have had hundreds and hundreds of major speakers on our stage right here in Michigan. We brought Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, you may be familiar with, Grant Cardone, and many others. And we continue to this day to bring major league speakers that are $10,000 to $35,000 per speech. That's the caliber of people we bring into town. And the coolest thing is this. About 14 years ago, we started recording the programs on video because I thought, I don't want to just help the people locally. I want to change the world with this information because it's so powerful. So I started putting them on video, created our brand Seminars on DVD, which later converted to Seminars on Demand. And it's been amazing. We have now, I've calculated, we've probably helped over 1 million people around the world so far with the videos of all the different avenues that we're into. It's amazing where the streaming videos and the DVDs have gone all over the world. We have a major distributor in Dubai that's sold so many tens of thousands of them all over the world. It's amazing what we've done. But the point is that I personally have absorbed a lot of seminars. I'm also an avid reader, and you can imagine I picked up a few good ideas along the way. And what I want to do in the last section is cover what I call the 5 action strategies. These are 5 of the best things I think you can do if you really want to take your life from where it is to where you want it to go. If you do these 5 things, I promise your life is going to get better and better and better. So let's go to action strategy number 1. This is your new mindset. If you don't have this mindset already, you better adopt it real fast. There it is, immediate definitive action. Is the bear looking at the salmon saying, oh, there goes the salmon swimming by. Maybe I should try to get him in a little while. Is that his mindset? No. He sees it and bam, he's on it like that instantly. You need to have that kind of action orientation. Ooh, that could be a good property for us to invest in. Let's write it down and give him a call in the next few days. Not immediate action. Ooh, that could be a good property to invest in. Let's go over there right now. Let's call him right now. Let's text him right now. Let's email him right now. That's immediate action. All right, if it's 2 a.m. and it's a phone call, wait till 8 a.m. But you get the idea, do it now. Get in that mindset of doing it now. Most people are real casual. Well, that's a good idea. Let's add it to our to-do list. You add it to your to-do list, more stuff gets added to your to-do list, and other paperwork gets piled on top, and 3 months later you pull out the to-do list from a few months ago. Oh yeah, I got some stuff on here I never even looked at. Not immediate action. You get the idea? So be on the, good idea. Always answer this question. This is the magic question. All right, I just thought of a good idea. If I'm actually going to pursue that, what would be the very first step? And then do it now. That's your mindset. Do it now. It'll change your life. Brian Tracy, one of my favorite speakers, he talked about a study that was done, I believe it was at MIT or some major university. I remember specifically talking about these 2 groups of people. One of them, they took immediate action. The other group, they did not take immediate action, and they followed them along for about 6 months. And at the end of the 6-month period, they looked at their lives. The people who took immediate action, they noticed that they took action in all different areas of their life on a regular, consistent basis. The people who did not take immediate action, guess what? They rarely took action at all. So be action-oriented. It'll make a big difference in your life in so many different ways. I cannot emphasize it. And I want to make one more point about this. It's not just who you, let's say you take immediate action and you find a new potential, a guy who's got a bunch of properties he wants to sell now because he's retiring and you want to buy all of them. Well, what would have happened if you didn't take action on the first one? You would have missed all the other properties. And let's say he has 3 other buddies in his same age range, and they also want to retire, and they want to sell their homes as well. Wow, you got 3 other referrals. Great. But meanwhile, you never would have that whole chain of events if you didn't take that immediate action on the first one. You get the idea? So be action-oriented. It'll be huge for you. Action strategy number 2 is clarity. You've got to know what you want crystal clear. Most people, they don't know exactly what they want. It's no wonder they don't have it. For example, how many of you want to make more money? More money? If I gave you $1 right now, guess what you'd have? More money. Is that what you meant?
No.
Oh, that didn't do it for you? But you all said more money. Do you agree $1 is more money? You get the point. You cannot just say, I want more money, because it doesn't mean anything. Instead of saying, I really want to make more money, your goal should sound more like this. By the way, do you all know what you earned last month? If you know what you earned last month, A good way to word your goal, I am now earning, plug in whatever number you want, I'm now earning $3,000 a month above what I earned last month, and it's going up from here. That's clear. Versus we're really going to make more money meaningless. Here's another one I hear people say all the time. Man, I got to exercise more. Yeah, you're laughing because you say that to yourself. I got to exercise more. But that doesn't mean anything. How many here walked through the building and walked into this room? I don't see any wheelchair. Is everyone walking okay? Is walking a form of exercise?
Yeah.
You're done. You're good. You're set. Is that what you meant? No, that's not what I meant. Well, then be clear. Don't just say I want to exercise more. Get clear. So here's my exercise. Here's how I do it. Instead of saying I got to exercise more, here's my exercise goal. I do 20 minutes of stretching, followed by 20 minutes of elliptical, followed by 15 minutes of weights every other day on an ongoing regular basis. That's clear. First, we're looking at exercise unclear. Get the idea? Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not willing to get crystal clear on what you want in life, well, then any road will take you there. But you know what's scary? Where does any road usually lead to? Nowhere. If you're going to build anywhere in life, let the wind just kind of blow, whichever way it's blowing that year. And then one day, inevitably, bang, they smack their head into a tree. They wake up in the middle of the woods. They're dazed and confused with tree after tree after tree. They can't get through anymore. They're stuck in life. And it could have all been avoided if they simply got a clear vision for where they're trying to go. This is the major theme that ran through many of the great books like Think and Grow Rich and the movie The Secret and many other success books I've read. It said you got to have a clear vision if you ever hope to get anywhere great. And it's not hard to do. You just sit down and think about it. I do this on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. I sit down usually on a Sunday morning before my little girls wake up, and I just brainstorm what I want with my family, my spiritual or my business, my whatever areas of my life I'm thinking about. I think about those, and I say, what do I want? Where do I want the next level to go? And I get clarity on these ideas. It's all you got to do is sit down and think about it for a minute with focus. Easy to do. You just have to discipline yourself to sit down and think about it. Now, once you get that vision in your mind, oh yeah, I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that, then you absolutely must activate action strategy number 3, which I know you've all heard before. Are you ready to hear it again? Say yes?
Yeah.
Well, there it is. Write down your goals. You've all heard that. I know it. But you know what I also know is that most of you haven't done it yet or lately. Because I ask people all the time, have you written down your goals? Have you written down your goals? And most people are like, no, not lately, not in a while. And I ask why. What do you think is the number one excuse why most people have not written down the goals at all or lately? Why not? Time. Time is the number one answer. Now, side note, how many of you will readily admit that you waste at least 15 or 20 minutes every day? So don't tell me you don't have time to write your goals. The kind of goals say I'm talking about, you can be done with it in 15 or 20 minutes one day. You're wasting that kind of time every day. So I don't buy the I don't have time. The real truth is, you're either too lazy to write them, or you just don't think it's important. Now the laziness, I don't know if I can help you with that. You may want to try therapy. The importance, so I can help you with that. Why is it so important to write down your goals? Well, every book I've read on success, all the good ones, they say what you think about and what you focus on, you attract. You've heard of law of attraction? So here's the deal. If your goals are actually written down, and you read them, what's going to happen is you're reading them. You'll be thinking about them, so you'll be activating the power of the mind, law of attraction. Here's the question I have for you. If you don't have them written down, when will you think about them? It's not never, but the real answer is when they randomly float through your mind again. So you're going to leave your most important goals in life to randomly floating through your mind? Forget about that. My new mantra, ink it so that you think it. Write it down then. Ink it so that you think it. So let me give you a quick strategy on how to do this with the goals. Okay. Get yourself like, I don't know, just like a pad of paper. This one's getting a little beat up because I use it so much. Time for a new one. Get a piece of paper like that, a pad or a piece of cardstock, and at the top write Secret 7, and you'll list your 7 most important goals on the Secret 7 card. Now, why do we say Secret 7? You don't want to share them with too many people. You start sharing the goals around with everybody, what are you going to hear someone say? You can't do that, man. Are you kidding me? Dude, let me see your goals. Number 1, exercise every other day for 20 minutes a day. Man, you've never done a day of exercise in your life. You're not going to do that one. Oh, number 2, make $150,000 a year. Are you kidding me, dude? You never even made 100. What makes you think you make 150? Oh, go get me going. Number 3, quit smoking. Man, you've been smoking since you're 13 or 14. That ain't going to happen. Oh, come on, man. Number 4, lose 20 pounds. Dude, you've been fat your whole life. That ain't going to happen. Stop it. Stop telling people your goals. There's so many negative people out there that say, you can't do this, you can't do that. I doubt that's going to happen for you. And who are these people to tell you that? Your close friends and family? Isn't that funny? So keep them private. Now, of course, we all have supportive friends and family members as well. So the ones that you want to carefully show it to, just make sure they're the supportive ones, but be careful. That's what we call it Secret 7. Now, once you got your goal list written up, here's what you want to do. Get yourself 6 more blank ones and go ahead and rewrite the list 6 more times so you have a total of 7 Secret 7 cards, right? If you're too lazy, go ahead and photocopy it. And then the old saying is out of sight. My new mantra there, in sight and in mind. So what you want to do is put them in sight. So you got 7 copies of it. Put one of them on the mirror in the bathroom. Put one of them by your nightstand, by the bed table by your bed. Put one of them in your office by the desk. Put one of them in your car by the radio. Put one of them next to your wallet or credit card, right? Put them where you're going to bump into throughout the day. And here's all I ask you to do. When you see the goal list, simply read the list and think about what you're reading. That's all you got to do. Just read it and think about it. Because here's what will happen. Let's say that you're laying in bed in the morning. You reach over to your nightstand. You get your goals. You're laying in bed. You just woke up. You're like, oh, let's see what we got going for today, my goals. Let's see. Number 1. Exercise every other day for 20 minutes on the elliptical, followed by 20 minutes of weights and stretching, whatever. You know what? I'm going to do that right now. That's what will happen. You read the list, something's going to jump out at you and say, I'm going to do that right now. Maybe you're in the office in the afternoon, you're reading through, track my ideal new rental property. You're like, you know what? I was just thinking about that new listing. I'm going to go call them right now. You'll be motivated to take action on some idea by reading the list. Meanwhile, the average person is literally bouncing around like a pinball in a pinball machine, working on all different stuff, never know what they're going to hit on next because they have no direction. This is what gives you direction on where you're trying to go, and it keeps you on track. So write down your goals and make a huge difference in your life. And once you got those goals written down, you absolutely positively must activate action strategy number 4. If you really want to supercharge those goals, you must visualize those goals like an Olympian. There's not an Olympian out there I know that doesn't use visualization. They all do it because it's part of the Olympic training. Why do they do it? Why? Because it works. That's the exact right answer, because it works. Now, visualization is quite simple. It's nothing more than seeing a moving picture in your mind. That's all visualization is. If I said right now, close your eyes and picture a beach with waves rolling in, could you pretty easily do that? That's all visualization is. Except instead of visualizing a beach with waves, you're visualizing your goal as if it's already happening, already unfolding. You just bought that amazing rental property that you were dreaming of having. You see it happening in your mind. And here is the most important part that I will tell you about visualization. You need to get the emotional feeling you would have if you actually had it happen in real life. How would you feel if you just closed on the most amazing investment property you ever dreamed of buying? How would you feel?
Great.
Amazing, elated, right? You want to get that feeling in your mind when you're seeing the picture. You want to get that feeling and get in touch with that. And that's the whole thing about visualization. Who is one of the greatest basketball players who ever lived? Michael Jordan. I hear that answer more commonly than not. And I'll tell you, I'm glad you said that because I read many interviews that he was interviewed, and I'll never forget this answer he said to one of the questions. He said, quote unquote, I shot more three-point throws in my mind than I ever did on the court. And think about how many times he did it on the court. He's doing it in his mind all day, practicing three-pointers in his mind. So we need to be practicing the investment principles in our mind. The other things we want to have accomplished in our mind. It's amazing what can happen when you start to integrate this into your life. Now, I'm going to give you one more. I don't share this with every group, but I'll do it with you guys here today. Here's my secret. Here's what I do for my visualization, all right? I have a gym in my house, and I get on the elliptical machine. And when you get on an elliptical machine, what gets released in the brain as you're exercising? Endorphins. I mix that with my visualization. Next thing I do. How many of you here ever heard some music that blew your mind, brought tears to your eyes, the music, the beat, whatever it was? Find those songs. Make a playlist of songs that blow your mind. You love the music, you love the beat, whatever it is. And then get some good quality headphones. So now you got the elliptical going, or just Stairmaster, or a stationary bike, and you got the headphones with your beautiful music that you love cranked up loud. And then with that stimuli going on, you do the visualization. And I'm going to tell you what happens to me. My goals are so big and so juicy. I get so excited about those goals that just like the Olympians do when they win the gold medal, I cry. Tears of joy start flowing out of my eyes because I feel like I've already got it, because I'm visualizing it as if I've already got it. I swear to you, you go to my house, you will see tear stains on the gym floor. I'm not kidding you. Now, you can imagine, the first time my wife saw me doing this, she's like, oh my God, honey, are you okay? Why are you crying? Did you hurt yourself? And I explained it all to her. Now she come walking by, she's like, keep on crying, baby, keep on crying. Because of all the amazing things that come out of it. And I hear people say to me, oh, come on, I mean, I'm a grown adult. Isn't that silly, crying about my goals? And I say, not as silly as you crying later because you didn't make it. And I'm telling you, this stuff is profound. It really makes a difference. And I'll tell you something else. If your goals are not big enough to choke a tear out of your eye, sorry, you've settled for mediocrity. You better come up with some bigger goal. You better think of something. If I could actually achieve that, ooh, goosebumps come up, form on my arms, and tears will well up. You better come up with a goal that big, or you have sold out. You've settled for mediocrity, which is fine. Fine by me. It's not my life, it's yours. But I came here today to hopefully inspire you to go for more, and do more with your life. Because as far as we know, this is our only chance to live the fullest life we can. I mean, I believe in reincarnation, but that's a whole other subject. But still, in this lifetime, we only have one chance to do that, so we got to do all that we can and tap our full potential. Most people are living at a fraction of their full potential. And it's so easy to live more of it when you just make a simple effort with the kind of things we're talking about in tonight's seminar. So do the visualization. How many here do visualization already? Anybody here doing it? Yeah. Maybe 10, 20% of the audience. So get into it. I'll tell you, the people that do it, they won't go without it. Once you do it and you get into the habit of it, it's amazing. And I'll tell you what, I actually have kind of tied this into my meditation practice. I do meditation almost every day as well. So what I'll do is I'll often visualize on the elliptical, and then I get off and I immediately start meditating. And it's really cool because like I'm already in this relaxed state. And meditation is when you clear your brain. You don't really want to focus, although you can kind of do both together. But the visualization first, then you meditate, or vice versa. Now, my little daughter, she's been kind of watching me do this, and you know how they always like to copy the parents. So this is Mila doing her little meditation. Yeah, she's my 4-year-old, and she's just adorable. All right, so action strategy number 5, the last one, and this is another big one, and that is the power of gratitude. We've got to be grateful. I don't care how much or how little you have. You've got to be grateful for what you have right now. And we got to. I'm really big on expressing the gratitude. So one of the things I do, I get in the shower in the morning. One of the first things I say almost every day, thank you, thank you, thank you for the hot water. And I've trained myself to use that time in the shower to rattle off things and think about things that I'm grateful for. All right? The other thing we do at our household, we go around the dinner table. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Right around the dinner table. Like I said, I got a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, and my wife and I, and it goes across the generations real nicely. And you know what's really cool? Because we've been doing this for a while, my 6-year-old lately, she comes out of the blue, not at dinner time. She'd be like, Daddy, I just want you to know I'm so grateful for that trip you took us on to Disney. I can't stop thinking about it. Daddy, I'm so grateful for our camping trip coming up this summer. Daddy, I'm so grateful. She's like pouring out all this gratitude without even asking for it. It's amazing that it's stuck with her. Now, of course, the little sister who you just saw up there, she likes to copy the big sister. So the other day I heard her say to the big sister, Luna, I'm really grateful for the Barbie camper that we got. And the big sister says to the little sister, she says, well, that's really nice, but you want to be grateful for things that don't cost money. I was like, whoa. Pretty profound coming out of a 6-year-old mouth. But the point is, get your loved ones into this, get yourself into this. Gratitude is awesome, and you want to pour out the gratitude. One other thing I do in the gratitude realm, I carry around a gratitude rock. And every time I touch the rock, it is my reminder to be grateful. And I simply touch the rock and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so grateful for ... Put whatever you want at the end of it. And you want to be grateful for big things and little things. Like a little thing, thank you for getting me here safely and on time tonight. That's a little thing. A big thing, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak at this meeting tonight, because I know that there's one person in this room or watching on video, there's one person who's going to follow through on everything I taught today. You're going to come up with a much bigger vision, you're going to write those goals down, you're going to start visualizing, you're going to use all the sales techniques we talked about, then all of a sudden your income is going to double, then triple, then quadruple, then quintuple. You're going to go, your kids will go to better schools, your grandkids will go to better schools, you'll move into the home of your dreams, you're going to have your entire family tree is going to be better off, because I got a chance to share these ideas today. So thank you for giving the chance to come and change those lives today. Can I get an amen? Really, we got to be grateful, and like I said, I'm really just big on expressing the gratitude, and I've been studying this for a while, and I've noticed something interesting. People that are genuinely grateful, they keep getting more and more good stuff coming at them, and the ones that are not so grateful, they usually stagnate, or they actually move backwards in life. Okay, last thing. Ladies and gentlemen, last thing. And this is the number one thing that is stopping most of us from achieving greatness in our lives. I present to you hypnotic rhythm. This is your blessing or it's your curse. What is hypnotic rhythm? Let me define it for you. Okay, typical day for most of you. You get up in the morning, you might have some breakfast or do some exercise, then you go down to the office, you do your work that you do, your calls and prospecting, you meet with clients and do sales, whatever you're into during the day. You have your lunchtime, you go out in the afternoon, do more work, hopefully make some money, and then you have go home in the evening, you have dinner with your family, whoever you live with, TV time and everything you do, and you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, and what do you do the next day? Same thing. What about the next day? And the next day, same thing, and it's pretty much the same thing day after day. If you keep doing the same thing day after day after day, after a while it becomes a routine. If you do a routine for long enough, it becomes a habit. If you do a habit for long enough, it becomes hypnotic rhythm. I'll redefine hypnotic rhythm real simple. It's the habit of being in a habit. Now, when you have the habit of being in a habit, I'll tell you something, it is virtually impossible to break that habit. Now, let me say something right here. If your life is going amazing, you are making all the money you could dream of, you're living in your ideal home, you have all the investment properties you could want, you have the ideal love relationship, you're in perfect health, everything's amazing, nothing could be better, you're already living a perfect hypnotic rhythm, so don't change anything. However, if any part of your life could use improvement, you must break hypnotic rhythm and recreate a new one. Now, there are 3 ways that I've determined you can break hypnotic rhythm. They're not in any particular order, so don't get the wrong idea. One of them is death. You heard that, right? Another one is fear. Like, let's say that your doctor, you do a physical exam and a stress test, and your doctor contacts you the next day and says, I am really sorry to tell you this, but according to all the tests we did, your main artery seems to be like 99.5% clogged. I mean, I wasn't expecting that at your age, but then I went and looked at your eating chart. Oh my goodness. Typical day for you. 3 eggs, bacon, ham, and sausage, hash browns, triple buttered toast, 3 cups of coffee is your breakfast. Your lunch is a bacon cheeseburger with onion rings and a Coke. Your dinner is fried chicken and cheesecake. Let me tell you something, pal. If you don't immediately change your eating program, here's the deal. On this sheet here, I've outlined a moderate eating program. You only eat what's on the sheet. If it's not on the sheet, don't put it in your mouth. And nothing deep fried. Number 2, this sheet is a moderate exercise program. It's a walking and stretching. It's about 20 minutes a day. If you don't do the exercise and the eating like I just told you on here, we may not see each other in 3 weeks for your next scheduled appointment. Now, if your doctor told you that, when would you change? Right now, out of fear. I had a guy the other day, he's like, I'd change doctors. So far we have death and fear, which neither one of those are good options. The third and the very best way to break hypnotic rhythm, there it is right there, commit to personal and professional development. That's how you break hypnotic rhythm. I'll prove it to you right now. How many of you here, from what you learned earlier today, next time you meet with somebody face to face, you're going to be more aware of the body language. You're paying attention to do something with your body language. Bam, you just broke hypnotic rhythm in that realm. How many of you here may actually write your goals down in the next 24 hours? Bam, you just broke hypnotic rhythm. How many of you here may try visualization if you haven't used it or use it more? Bam, you just broke hypnotic rhythm. When we learn information at seminars like this, we get better, we improve, we change our behavior, we change our results, and it ultimately changes the trajectory of our lives. So commit to personal and professional development. How do you do that? If you want to go back to school, you can do that. You know, college, university, whatever you want to, you can do that. A lot of you are like, I'm not doing that. Some of you may want to, another good way, read books. Read good books on success and improvement and all the different areas that you want to study. You can do audiobooks like I do because I'm really too busy to do a lot of reading, so I do a lot of audiobooks while I'm driving. But I will tell you the best thing I do is doing what you're doing tonight. I go to live speakers. In fact, the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday of this week, just the last 2 days, I spent all day at live seminars. There was the Purpose Summit going on in Detroit, and I just watched all these amazing speakers there, and it totally changed my life in many ways. So I'm a big proponent. Go to the seminars, be part of this stuff. To me, live speakers changed my life more than anything. So attend the live events. Now, real quickly, I want to share with you what I've been doing for the last 30 plus years. Please take one and circulate them down. More than 30 years I've been doing this, and it's pretty amazing. Every other month, we have a major event. You like networking? You like meeting people? You like hearing amazing speakers? We have the coolest club you've ever heard of happening right here in Michigan, and this is year number 31 for us. We have, right now, there's over 3,000 members in the group. If you didn't get one, raise your hand. We'll get them over here. They're coming right here. Okay, they're coming right there. Just leave the extra down. I'll get them at the end. All right, now, these are held. Excuse me. These are held in Southfield. They are every 2 months. The next event is a week from Tuesday, so it's coming right up on our next event. All the speakers are live on stage, And the other really cool thing, these are the top speakers in the world. These are people that charge $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 or more to give a speech. I mean, people that you would never get a chance to hear on a local basis without what we're doing. Now, the coolest thing about this, do you remember what I told you I started doing about 15 years ago? Recording the speakers. Did you hear that earlier?
Yeah.
What does that mean? We are their production company. That changes our relationship. Guess what I don't have to do? Pay them. I don't pay the speakers. Wow, we're their production company. Now, because we don't pay the speakers, we have a different relationship with them. The local people who are part of our network, they get to go to these seminars for next to nothing. It's so inexpensive. I'll tell you the cost in a minute, but it's super low cost. Let me first tell you about Living the Bible, which is going to go on this year. First of all, the next event, it's going to blow your mind. Dan Lear in the afternoon, the first one at the top left, he is amazing. He's like one of my favorite motivational speakers. He talks about purpose. Why are you on the planet? And now that you know why, how do you tap your full potential? It'll piggyback real nice on what we talked about today. You're going to love Dan Lear. Then in the evening, get ready for Roger Crawford. He's a Hall of Fame award-winning speaker. He's going to do this incredible program on mindset. This guy hardly has arms. His arms end about right here. He doesn't even have hands. He's got like little stubby, I don't even know what you want to call them. They're kind of like hands. He's had a severe, and his legs also. He's got severe birth defect. You think you got trouble? Wait till you hear this guy's story and how he overcame it with mindset. It is an amazing seminar. He won the Hall of Fame award in speaking. That's really hard to get. He's incredible. You'll love him. $20,000 a day speaker. Then you go to the second one down the left, Kelly Swanson. This one will be one of the most valuable programs for real estate investors. It's called story selling. If you don't use stories in the properties you're trying to buy or the people you're trying to rent to, I guarantee you're losing business every single day. Story selling is where it's at. You're going to get so many ideas from her. And not only that, you'll get ideas, but you'll be laughing. She's hysterical. She started out in stand-up comedy. So you'll be laughing throughout the entire seminar about learning this incredible technique of integrating stories into every part of what you do every single day. It's amazing. Then in the evening, Kristen Cashin, she's coming back again. She brought the house down last time. She was so amazing. She's one of the funniest speakers you'll ever hear. And her program is on Stop Global Whining. How do you have more fun? How do you make people laugh? How do you be more lighthearted? How do you let yourself, don't be so strict about life. You'll live healthier, lower your stress. It's an amazing seminar. Third one down the left, Dan O'Connor's coming back again. It's called Dealing with Difficult People. I will tell you, I've heard him many times before. He is the best communication skills expert I've ever heard on stage. He's incredible. It's all little, it's systematic, it's a formula. So he says, if the person says this to you, here's what you say. If somebody tries this on you, here's what you say. He gives you a tactic for no matter what they come at you, here's how you respond to that, and his ideas are brilliant. You'll be the better communicator than ever before. And as Tony Robbins says, the quality of your communication equals the quality of your life. So it's a big event. You're going to love that. Then in the evening, Dan Waldschmidt, The Law of Awesome. This guy was here 2 years ago. He was so awesome. We're bringing him back again. At the time, my sons came to hear him. They were 17 and 19. They're now, of course, 19 and 21. It blew their mind. My son said, my older son, he said, Dad, that guy changed my life. I'm getting out of this community college. I'm going to get into a good university. I'm coming to every seminar from now on. I'm going to start watching him on my iPhone as well. And he followed through on everything, my son. Since then, that was over 2 years ago, he's only missed one of our live seminars, and that was only because he got accepted to Wayne State and he couldn't miss class that day. So I'm telling you, this stuff works. You got younger people in your life you want to help? Get an extra pass and bring them with you. It's amazing and transformational. We're seeing people in 13 years old and up coming now. It's amazing. And we're getting them together to network with each other with their own younger networking group. It's really cool. All right, keep going. You got A.J. Adams on motivation, attitude, and results. You got George Walther. Oh my God, this guy's amazing. He's a Hall of Fame award winner on Invent Your Adventure, How to Live Your Bucket List, Live a Life with No Regrets. Flip up the bottom. You got Sam Glenn on personal leadership principles. He's coming back again. He was amazing the first time. Walter Bond is going to bring the house down. This guy is awesome. It's called Think, Execute, Dominate. 31 Truths to Achieve Peak Performance. One of my favorite motivators in the world. Super high energy, very funny guy. And then Les Brown Jr. You heard of Les Brown? Yeah. This is Les Brown Jr., his son. We just had him. He was the speaker at our last event about 6 weeks ago. He was amazing, so amazing. We said, Les Brown Jr., you're coming back again next year with that other seminar that you have. He's going to do the program called Supercharge Your Dreams. He is so inspiring. You'll love him. And then Marilyn Sherman, who we've had before, she's amazing on Front Row Leadership. As you can see, we have a very impressive lineup of speakers coming live on stage. I love it. You go to one seminar like this, you'll typically spend $200 to $300 just to hear one speaker. what we've been able to do by packaging this into a series and giving you a membership card to go to the whole year, we've been able to bring the cost down. The entire year is only $449 for all 12 seminars. And of course, it's tax deductible as educational training. And when you get signed up for the program, you'll get a membership card. This is what you bring every time. You just hold it out, we shoot it with a barcode reader, beep, and you're in. Now, the nice thing about this is, you're not going to get to every one of these. We know that. You're out of town. You can't make it. Things come up. Don't worry about it. You can miss as many as you need to and make them up down the road. In other words, we will not expire the card until it's been scanned at least 12 times. The other thing is this. They're fully transferable. So if you can't go, give it to a friend, give it to a client, give it to a spouse, give it to anybody who can go in your place. Some people, like I said, they buy 2 or 3 of these and they bring different people with them each and every time. So it's very flexible. The other great thing, we are going to remind you. You forget. You sign up for something like this, you forget all about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to make sure you don't forget. You'll get an email reminder 3 weeks in advance of every program, 10 days in advance, and a day or 2 before a final reminder. 3 reminders to make sure you don't forget. All right, last part. I got an amazing special for those that want to get signed up today. And the reason I do this, I give a number of presentations per week, and you can imagine it's pretty time-consuming to follow up with everyone individually. Please take one and pass them down. It's pretty time-consuming to follow up with everyone individually. So I like to, if you sign up with me today, it saves up all the follow-up time. So I'm going to pass that savings on to you. So you'll all see as we get these forms handed out quickly. Just grab one quickly and pass it down. You'll see on the form, it's $449 for the entire year's worth of seminars, which is a great value. Make sure everyone down here gets one. You got one here? All right. Well, that's right. I'll take yours. There you go. There you go there. Who didn't get one back here? Where is your short 2 over there? One. There you go. Who didn't get one? Anyone not get one yet? So good over here. All right. All right. So you'll all see on the form. See the second line down that says $449? Just go ahead and cross that out. Just X out the $449. Over the right where it says total investment, and if you're watching this on the video, you can do this. Mark, can we get this online for them to, can we shoot a picture and put it right on the, can you do that live right now? Maybe get it on the Facebook page right now or something, for wherever they're watching it. See if they can get a copy for those in the area that are watching live. They'll figure it out. In a minute, you'll be able to get this online. But here's the deal. Or you can email michael@yesmidwest.com if you want, and I'll email it to you. All right, so here's the deal. Cross out the $449, put in $349, so we're going to save you $100 right away. I got some amazing bonuses that I'm including if you sign up today as well. First bonus, any one event, any of your choice, you can set up an exhibit table and promote your company, any product or service you want there. You can promote it to the entire audience. We get hundreds of people at every seminar. You'll have an exhibit table for the day. It's a $100 value. We should charge more. We charge $100. You'll get it for free once. The other bonus you're going to get is a one-time guest pass. You want to bring an investor, a client, somebody, like you want to bring someone with you once, your teenager, you'll get a pass, one-time guest pass at a $99 value. You'll get that for free as well. The next 2 bonuses, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, you can do 2 or 3 monthly payments if money's tight. All right? We don't charge any extra. However, the next 2 bonuses are if you do 1 payment. If you do it in 1 payment, you get the next 2 bonuses. Here they are. I told you we've been recording these for many years. I picked out 2 of the greatest programs we've ever produced. One of them is called Conversation Strategies. This is Mike Lipkin. He comes from South Africa. He's got that South African accent, incredible, inspiring. It's called Conversation Strategies for creating preeminence. That's like you want to be number 1 when they choose you, when their investors are fighting over the property. How do you become the one that wins? If that gives you the bit that you get the buy the property. You're going to learn so many ideas from him about connecting with people. Or you can choose this one, Brian Tracy. This is our #1 bestseller on sales techniques. It's how to double your sales and double your income. It's phenomenal. These are $50 on our website. You take either one free as a bonus for signing up today and paying 1 payment. The other bonus is huge, and that is, I don't know if I told you this, we've been recording these for over a decade now. We have 120 full-length seminars online. You sign up today and do 1 payment as a bonus. We're going to give you the entire online collection for 1 year for free. It's amazing. That's a $200 value. For those who are watching around the country, go to seminarsondemand.com, and if you're not in the area to go to the live seminars, you can get the online seminars there, which are, they're reasonable. It's $199 for the year, which is a great value. So do that if you're out of the area. But you're going to get that free just by doing the 1 payment today. But here's the biggest bonus of all. And this is for everybody. If you do 1 payment, 3 payments, doesn't matter. This is the biggest bonus. If you're even thinking about getting signed up tonight, what I'm about to tell you will make it a no-brainer. Here it is. You see on the bottom, we have a $99 a year renewal. So it's $349 for the first year, and then $99 a year thereafter. If you sign up with me today, we're going to waive the annual renewal fee for life. So just to be really clear, it's a one-time investment of $349. You get a lifetime pass. We'll never ask you for another penny again. You go to all the seminars you want for the rest of your life. And the reason we can do that, I told you earlier, we don't pay the speakers. We are their production company. We have a different relationship with them. And what else? When we're filming a speaker, what else do we need there? People. It's just a beautiful arrangement. We've been doing this for a long time. It's a real win-win. People love this. So a lifetime pass, the one-time exhibit table, the bonus DVD, the streaming for a whole year of all seminars, the bonus guest pass, all for $349. I guarantee it'll be the best investment you've ever made in your life in your personal and professional development. Here's my guarantee. Try it for 1 year. Here's my guarantee. Try it for 1 year. If at the end of the first year, you're not like, this was amazing, it was phenomenal, I love it, it was the best investment ever, we'll give you all your money back. Try it for 1 year with no risk. Here's my one stipulation. You got to attend 6 of the 12. You got to go to at least half of them. But if you go to half of them and you don't love it, we will gladly cancel your pass and make room for somebody else. Because right now, I'm telling you, there's only 50 spots left. We're getting pretty full right now. We're not going to oversell it. We're at standing room only. So we got about 50 lifetime passes left. And as long as people keep coming, we're not going to oversell it. We make our money selling the videos all over the world. That's our main part of our business. Anyone here been to any of our seminars that would share with the others how amazing they are real quickly?
I actually have a membership.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
Okay. Would you share with the audience?
Been to several of the events.
Delatoro McNeil.
I love him. He was amazing. I bought all of his stuff.
He's coming back again, by the way. We've been
He
talking.
was awesome.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah. Anyone else? Mark, you've been before. Who else is? Your partner's a member? Let me show you what it's like to be there from the people that go all the time. Check it out.
The Yes Network is the best.
If you want to consider yourself amongst the best, you want to be with the best.
I learn something every time I come.
Anytime you can get in and draw from somebody else's experience and apply it to what you're doing, it's a win-win.
How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to win?
I'm going to give you one insight right now that has the power to give you an instant breakthrough.
Just one idea that refuels, recharges, re-energizes yourself.
Greatness, it's a choice.
If you want advocates, you should set an intent.
Commitment has to come first. Some of you heard it, but you're not doing anything about it.
They're informative, they're educational.
Every time I come in, there's something new and exciting. In order to be a peak performer, you have to be consistent.
It's not failure, it's a learning experience.
I've been part of the Yes Network for over 3 years, and I love every aspect of it. I love the philosophy behind it.
Successful careers, good friends, enjoyment of life, healthy families.
You are bringing in some of the top names in the business, thought leaders and speakers who are experts.
We have to be consumers of the right information if we want the right transformation in our life.
The rule is to earn more, you must learn more. Sell more, you must learn more. To run your business more profitably, you must learn more.
We always leave here with something new to think about.
It's an experience you can't get anywhere else. People that don't come here, they're missing out.
It's all good stuff. It's stuff we can all use.
So that gives you an idea of what it's like. I got to tell you that every single time I put on an event, people are coming up to me, Michael, I am so grateful that you put these programs on. This has changed my life. It changed my relationship with my wife, I heard the guy say. Another guy got up on stage with tears in his eyes because he brought his 14-year-old and he said, my relationship with my 14-year-old was toxic until today. And we had a healing that was because of what the speaker said. It's been literally life-changing for me. He had tears in his eyes. He told the whole audience that on stage for 30 seconds. It was amazing. People have said, my sales have doubled since I joined this group a year ago. So many amazing things have happened. Also, from a networking perspective, it's awesome. You get to meet so many positive people right here in the Metro Detroit area. And for a lifetime pass, like I said, it'll be the best investment you've ever made in your life. When I started this company, my mission was to help as many people in the world to tap their full potential. That's why I do what I do. I don't think about, how many people am I going to sign up? I don't really care if you sign up. But I don't care about your money, is my point. I got to charge you because that's what we do as a business. But what I care about is helping you get to your next level. When I hear people like the woman in the back there who said, Delator McNeil changed my life, I love that guy. That's what I want to hear. And I hear that every time from people that come. And I'd love to hear that from you. I hope I've helped you today, but I'd really love to have the honor of helping you beyond today. And this is the way to do it, by getting signed up for this program. I'm telling you, it's just going to be so helpful for you. It'll be a life changer. So get signed up, and you're going to get an amazing result. In closing, oh, by the way, before I tell my closing story, if any of you are part of any association, group, real estate company, a team of salespeople or agents or a networking club or anything like that, and you want me to come speak, I love doing this. I waive my fee locally. For those out of the country, or out of the state, I should say, my fee is $4,000 to $5,000, depending upon how far away you are, plus expenses. I'd be happy to come out and do the program. But let me know of any other speaking opportunities. We can exchange cards afterwards. And in closing, I want to tell you about this donkey that fell into a well, and the farmer who owned him could not figure out how to get him out of there. He tried all kinds of stuff, and after hours of deliberating with his friends, he said, you know what? That donkey is so old, he's blind. I mean, that's why he fell in the well, and the well is all dried up. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to bury the donkey in the well. And his buddy said, good idea, let's do it. And they start shoveling dirt and shoveling dirt. It gets start filling up. The donkey starts to get fearful and start howling with fear, but it got fuller and fuller, and all of a sudden it got real quiet in there. They just kept shoveling dirt. About 10 minutes later, when it got fuller and fuller, they heard a sound come out of the well. It went, shh, shh, shh. They're like, what's that? Shh, shh, shh. They looked down at the well. They were shocked. Every time another big shovelful of dirt would hit the donkey, he would shake a little off his back and take a baby step up. Then shake a little more off his back, and I'll be darned, it took 2 more hours, but that donkey was, after they got enough, he was able to finally step right on up out of that well. Now, isn't that kind of like life? Doesn't life shovel a lot of dirt on us? Right? Yeah. And when that happens, we need to shake it off and take a step up. And the equivalent of that, you go to the seminar, you get pumped up, you get re-engaged, you get re-inspired, you get re-motivated, you surround yourself with positive people. That's how you shake it off and take a step up. Now, when the donkey finally got out of there, you can imagine he was furious with the farmer that tried to kill him. So he went back there and he kicked the living crap out of that farmer. And the moral of the story is, if you try to cover your ass, it'll always come back to get you. Thank you. You guys are great. I'm grateful. Thank you. All right, so for those who are getting signed up, if you're doing one payment, you don't need to put your credit card on the form. We can just read it with the card reader. If you need to do 2 or 3 payments, make sure you write it legibly on there. Make sure your email address is real legible. If you're in a hurry, come on up here. I'll get you first. I can't wait to see you a week from Tuesday at our major event with 2 amazing speakers coming up a week after next. Thank you so much. Let's give Mark and the other partners a hand for putting on these great events. And if you have
to get that right.
No, I said agent. That's correct.
Yes. I don't have a license.
Partner.
Yeah.
Something that some people can't say.
No.
Yeah.
It's a foreign word.
Yeah. Partner keeps us out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
At least I know you came with a specific thing that you want to learn.
Correct.
All right. Well,
Tonight is all about you.
tonight it's all round table.
We're here to
kicking
make
it around.
you happy.
Works for me. Sure, thank you for Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, finding this place?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I felt like I was driving out of a bat cave or something.
It was scary, huh?
Oh yeah, it's like that. It was like, you know, the crazy parkway turns and you here, you don't, man, the whole thing. I was like, yeah, no more lights yet.
What, how I get home?
How do I mouse this thing down for the submit button?
We made dinner for you, though. Seriously.
Oh, cool.
Some there.
Oh, nice.
No dessert.
All right.
I can live with it.
It's all right.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Well, ready to start when you are, Mark.
Oh. Let me do an introduction.
Well, I thought Maureen was going to.
Oh, you doing the introduction?
Oh.
No.
Are we ready to start?
You
Well,
can
sit
do a
there
villa
for
plug, you know.
Oh.
A live villa plug.
Oh, yeah, we got our thing to do.
Oh, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. After we tell you 100 people here. Okay. You ready? Oh, we're on? Okay, good. So I want to welcome everybody here. I want to welcome everybody that's watching us live streaming. I want to welcome everybody that's watching on Facebook. And my name is Mark Maupin. And we're going to be talking about, well, first of all, this is being recorded, so anybody in the room when you speak, you're going to voluntarily letting us put you out to the public. I got a couple disclaimers about real estate. One is real estate by its very nature can be risky. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You always need to talk to an attorney or CPA. And my second disclaimer is everything that comes out of my mouth tonight is a lie. And the reason I say that's because I don't want to get sued by you. And if I am going to get sued by you, I gave you a disclaimer. So, we do 3 meetings a month. The first meeting in the month takes place on it's the second Tuesday, and it's in Farmington, and it's usually always around wholesaling.
Flip up one. There on the
Flip up one.
Keep going to where the meetups.
Back.
No, you'll see. Go.
Back.
Go.
Forward. Go.
Go. Yeah. Next one. There you go.
Oh, so here we are.
Yeah.
So our first one's the second Tuesday of every month. It goes from 7 to 9 p.m. It's in Farmington Hills, Farmington Manor, always geared around wholesaling. The next one we have there is going to be a panel of local wholesalers that are very active. And the third Wednesday of each month, we do it in Auburn Hills at Baker College. And the last month there we had was Ron Walraven, who is a major wholesaler, spends as much as $70,000 a month for AdWords, majorly doing deals. So that was very interesting last month. So we always have a speaker there. The next meeting we've got in Auburn Hills is actually going to be on the 3rd, and we have 2 things happening. I'm going to, from what time, 6? Starts that we're going to do.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to do how to do a buyer favorable purchase agreement. Step by step, we're going to walk you through the purchase agreement, explain every clause, and if you come to that meeting, you also get the video on it, and you'll get the PowerPoint, and you'll get the purchase agreement. But you still need to do like a seller's disclosure statement, lead-based paint statement, everything that you have to do to put a deal together and close. And if you're a wholesaler, then you also need to make sure you tie the property up so that you could run around and show everybody their brothers. So we're going to show you how to do a claim of interest. We'll show you how that's in the purchase agreement. So we're going to show you how to control the deal. And it's like if you're going to do landlording, find, fix, and flip, wholesaling, that's like a must-know type situation for you. So then the best part comes after that, and that meeting's only going to be $10, and it includes dinner. And then we've got a professional speaker coming in that's a motivational speaker, and I guarantee that you'll get tremendous value out of what he has to say. So it's a pretty full evening. Then the last meeting of the month is always on a Thursday. It's here in White Lake. It's always around commercial real estate. We've done like apartments. We brought in mortgage brokers for commercial deals, and we have a really, really good speaker tonight. And then other meetings I highly recommend going to is the Renegade meeting. That's the first Tuesday. That's at Shields Pizza. There's no charge for that. They want you to eat something there. All your major wholesalers will be there. There's about 100 people. Have you been to that, Hartford?
I haven't been to the Renegade one yet, but I've been to I go to the Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland RIA. Yeah, that's good too. And Ron Walraven's vice president there. So he said that when he came to ours, it was the first time he'd ever spoke at a RIA, though. I mean, where he was a speaker. And then there's the Macomb RIA. So we'll send you this PowerPoint tonight. If you give us your email, and it's got all the different meetings on it. Then Todd, who works with me, he does a networking meeting at Mulgart's on the east side, another good place to meet a lot of people. Wendy Patton's group meets in Troy. Then there's the Ann Arbor Real Estate Club, Dirty House Buyers, which I understand is a good group if you're of active buyers, and the Genesee Landmarks Association. So, but I'm going to back up now a little bit. So we have this thing like where you pay $20 to come to our meetings, but if you pay $27, then you not only get all 3 meetings, you can get the meetings live streaming, so you don't have to drive to White Lake or drive anywhere. You can just watch them and stream to you. Then you also get all the past meetings. Not only do you get all the past meetings, I've done meetings for years before that. Some of the key meetings in there, the training is in there too. So you get, it's a tremendous amount of stuff. And also on our site, like if you want to, just to give you some other ideas, like if you need a dumpster, like that's where I work for a dumpster company. So we've got, like if you need a 30 yard, it's like in the mid 300s, and most of them are like in the mid $400 for like a 30 yard dumpster, take a comparison. So there's savings inside doing that. Then there's also all the forms. Every meeting, any kind of form we talk about, like subcontractor agreements, buyer favorable purchase agreements, any of the stuff that we talk about, lease option agreements, everything is piled into that. There's also, we just created a new book in there on wholesaling, step by step how to do it. That's in there. We're finishing up the last touches on that. There's also a book on find, fix, and flip that's in there. They get into great detail. So there's a lot of stuff on that site. Am I missing other stuff? If you're interested in
Disclosures that you need for.
yeah, if you're interested in, let's say that you're working in an area and you want to get a buyer's list for that area, like you want to know who are the major buyers in a given market, like within a 3-mile radius. We can pull that for you. Not only can we pull that for you, we can get you their phone numbers, their emails. That's an acquisition cost, but it's a fraction of what we're charging people to do it normally if you're a member. So you can ask Maureen about that after the meeting. So that's a little bit about that site. And our goal is to if you're going to participate, shortly we're going to be live streaming this to we're creating meetups in Chicago, New York, all the major metropolitan areas. So our stuff's going to be going all over the country. And so that if you're presenting something, you're looking for out-of-state investors and that, it's a good opportunity to get up there. So like, that's Pat. I'm just trying to think what else. So yeah, so what I'd like to do is just, there's not that many people here tonight, but if you guys do want to, you can get up here and give a commercial about yourself if you like, okay, or what you want to get out of tonight. Walter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We'll live around life.
There are a lot of people watching on Facebook and that. And
great.
It gets repeated. So.
Yeah.
Great. A couple things. Cameron. Okay, great. A couple things I have going on. One, first off, my name is Walter Boykin. The second, new website is pretty simple. It's no fees, no closing costs.com. That's no fees with an S, no closing costs with an S.com. My email is no fees, no closing costs at gmail.com. Phone number 313-288-0375. As you know, this is probably the moment I'll start smelting up here. Anyway, I'm looking for a couple things. One of those, if anyone happens to know anyone in the Florida area who happens to have a large apartment complex or hotels they're looking to sell, I have someone very interested in buying those. That's number one. Number two, what I actually have for sale is a beautiful 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, brick on the west side, 15895. Prevost, 1,140 square feet. They're asking $26,000. However, that includes a quick claim, not just a quick claim, signed deed. It also includes the quiet title proceeding and everything needs to be done. The the seller is actually very negotiable, looking to work. So give me a call, 313-288-0375, or text, I say busy, or if you happen to have anything in the Florida area or large hotels, complexes, or apartment complexes. Thank you. Have a great life.
Did you give your phone number too?
Oh, yeah, a couple times.
Give it small.
313
Can you put that out on Facebook?
288-0375. That's 313-288-0375. No fees, no closing costs at gmail.com. No fees, no closing costs.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Great.
Hartford, you want to?
I don't want to get you on
Okay. All right. All right. Well, then there's another person behind the cameras, and I'm not going to give his name, but I can tell you he is an REO agent and does BPOs. So you do about 100 BPOs typically in a month, maybe? Yep. So a BPO is a broker's price opinion. That means that the mortgage company has called him, or asset managers called him to go look at a property and give an opinion. But him and the asset manager are the only ones that know about those properties. So if you're looking to get leads and want to work leads, then you should contact me and I'll give you his name privately. And it's an access to getting really good leads that nobody else knows about. And that's for anywhere pretty much in the Tri-County area. So, and then I think that's it. So I want to introduce our speaker tonight. It's Pat Winter. Pat and I have done a lot of transactions together. We've done warehouses together. In fact, we had a warehouse right next to the old Packard plant, and we actually leased it for $15,000 a month. I'm hoping that Pat will talk about that somewhat tonight, because that warehouse, we ended up buying it for, I think it was $30,000. We dumped about a couple $100,000 into it. We got a private investor to come in to be a 1/3 partner. The renovation on it was really interesting because the warehouse was full of debris when we bought it. Pat can talk about that. But Pat had an incredible strategy on how to get it filled, and it was a really simple solution, so hopefully he'll talk about that tonight. But we've done office buildings, we've done some industrial buildings together, done a whole bunch of stuff, and it was all successful. The only mistake we made was that we wholesaled everything. And that was a huge mistake in the commercial industrial arena, because I wouldn't be here talking to you tonight if we'd held on to it.
Yeah, we'd still be
so
here.
That's,
It'd be a different perspective.
Yeah, but as far as being able to acquire it and do all that, I know that we've got an incredible speaker, and I know that he's a buy and hold guy now today. So let's give Pat one more.
I just want to ask people before I start is what topics brought you here today? What do you want to know? Specifically, any questions you have about industrial buildings or commercial?
Well, right now, I'm an open book. I've always been curious about the commercial warehousing. My mother had a friend who bought a couple warehouses, and I think at the time he was leasing them out to Coca-Cola.
Okay.
So I think it was Coca-Cola. It was one of the distributors, one of the bottling companies. But anyway, ever since I heard that, I said, wow, it's like, in my mind, it seems there's a lot less hassle than dealing with, tenants. But maybe that's just me thinking on top scale. But it just seemed like it was just something that I wanted to eventually get into.
Yeah, commercial is a whole different mindset because the tenant, I'm talking about that topic. The tenants are to make money, and they don't have a shortage of money. It's not like there's somewhere they're living in a house and are they going to pay the rent next month? Because they have a contract or they have an ongoing relationship with another supplier, they have to store materials and then ship it out, and they need a building. So where else are they going to go? They can't build a building, they're just tenants. They want to buy or lease a building, and it's got to be where they want. It's got to have power, overhead doors, and apartment lots. So it's pretty simple industrial buildings. I'm going to talk about what Mark talked about It was a friend of Mark's dad owned an industrial building in Detroit. It's on 5151 Bellevue. If you drive by there in Detroit and look at it now, all that's left is block. And they raised the building and tore the steel out of it, so it's a pile of block. It sits on about 3 acres. But at that time, it was in the enterprise zone, the Renaissance zone. So there was no real estate taxes, no utility tax. And the biggest thing for the tenant was there was no personal property tax. The municipalities make a lot of money on taxing a business operation and anything they own. That's what a personal property tax is. So it was like $200,000 or $300,000 a year of tax on their equipment. But in this Renaissance zone, there was no tax for a 12-year period. So that's what incentivized us to really secure, go after the building. I just do simple things. A lot of people look at cap rates and ROI, internal rate of return. I just look at what is the cost to build a building, what is the target rate I can rent it at, and I just do like a simple rundown. And this building was so inexpensive. It was full, like Mark said, it was full of truck bumpers and car bumpers. The guy was a recycler, but his mistake was he didn't categorize it. He put everything in the building, just packed it all in, so it wasn't segregated. So you can't sell plastic bumpers unless they're categorized, because then you ship them out in different containers to different recyclers. So we ended up just getting a bunch of, well, at that time it was called it wasn't Waste Management, it was BFI. I don't know how many semi-loads, but they brought in 60-yard containers. They're mounted on the truck. They don't take them off the truck, these cans. And the contractor I knew, he had his own Bobcat and his own backhoe. So he brought a bunch of dirt on site in the parking lot and made a big ramp. So he'd go inside, drag the bumpers out with the Bobcat, and then the other guy with the backhoe would pick them up, drive up the ramp, and drop them in the 60-yard containers. And they went to the Canton landfill.
It was 165,000 square foot building.
Yes, and it had 3 truck wells. It was a beautiful building. It was a stuff full of scrap, basically. It wasn't heavy, it was just bulky. So once we got everything out, then you could see what was in there. We saw the capacity of the square footage of the building. And Mark and I, we just talked to the broker. I knew the broker that did that market. He knew that market like the back of his hand. He's like the go-to industrial broker in that market. So I said, Chris, let's go. We're going on a tour. We didn't have lights in the building yet. There's no power on it. We just went in with flashlights and walked him through, and he goes, I got somebody. I said, I know you've got somebody. I don't want you taking them somewhere else. So we worked out a special deal. In Michigan, there's no law on what commission you can pay. It's an arm's length between the buyer or between the tenant and the landlord, or the broker and the landlord, I'm sorry. So I ended up basically paying them almost 20% commission. But I don't care. Because he brought the tenant in, like Mark was saying, paid $15,000 a month for more than 10 years. It was a tier 2 supplier to Chrysler. They brought in their own little mobile home trailer. So he had a self-contained office with a bathroom. All I needed was power to run the AC and the heater in the little trailer. And that was the on-site manager, and then they stored aluminum castings in there. Wheels, suspension parts, manifolds, it's all aluminum casting parts. And they brought their equipment in fact, too, from Chicago. Because I mentioned the tax on any kind of manufacturing equipment is very expensive. We brought this stuff from Chicago and stored it in the building too, because it was in a tax-free zone. So they were happy in that regard too. And they paid their rent like clockwork. Because when they were on a call, Chrysler would call them. Chrysler had a plant operating in Detroit at that time. They'd call them, they opened the overhead door. The guy would back in the semi, they'd load up everything with a high-low, propane high-lows, pallets full of castings and parts and aluminum wheels. They're making the Viper in Detroit, and then they would strip it to the just-in-time delivery. And the seller would come back, park inside at 2 truck wells, indoor truck wells. So the building was real secure. They had a fenced-in yard. The fence was still intact. Everything was intact with the building.
the roof was leaking like a sieve, so we
Just repair it.
patched the roof, we just
Yeah, you
repaired
don't
it.
replace it, you just repair it. You don't spend money unless you have to spend it. We made it watertight. I guess the biggest cost, Mark mentioned we spent like 200 grand or so, was to paint it. And a painter, we just had these big 55-gallon drums of paint, he just sprayed with an airless for about a week. And then we brought electrical in, there's no electrical service, so we put electrical service in and put lights up so they could see in the warehouse.
And the plant was attached to the pack.
Yeah, so that's why you had to get that tax designation, it's right down the street on Bellevue Street. Back then, the packer plant was just a ghost town. Now it's been sold to an international investor. I guess he's got plans to renovate it, but it's just so much capacity there in Detroit because of the heyday when all the manufacturing was going on. So in other words, I'm just saying you just got to see the value by looking at what does it cost to build.
So,
if you could buy it for a fraction of the cost.
so the key for me in this is, it's who you know. So who he knew was, he knew all the guys that rented cold storage warehouse. And he was willing to make them, you could say he made them a partner in the deal through commissions, if you follow what I'm saying. So, and the acquisition was so low, and then you can do the math on that, 15,000 a month. It was a good deal. And I never done a commercial deal or industrial deal ever before then. So it wasn't, you didn't have to have the knowledge. I just found an incredible buy that people couldn't see past, what to do.
Yeah, but I've been doing it for years, decades, really. I learned it from my dad, and he just kind of learned it by doing it. And it just opens your eyes, and it's all it is, like a big house. It needs the same amount of renovation or a lot more, just a bigger box to clean. But the income is huge. You can't rent a house for that kind of money. So industrial buildings are the same ways in commercial buildings. Storage building. Even today, if that building was still standing, I'm still could have buy it. Even today, in 2019, go buy it if it was still there. Buy it inexpensive. Just put people to store products in their cars or trucks. Or there's always demand for storage, indoor storage. People don't want their stuff outside. They want it indoors.
Another thing. I met another guy who did that. He bought a warehouse off of 96, kind of like Evergreen or something like that.
Okay.
And one side he had stored cars for people and boats. The other side he made a bar and a stage where people's bands can rehearse.
Yeah, it's because industrial, there's no limitation. It's a heavy industrial. You can do anything there. You can have a stamping plant, you can have a pistol range, you can make tanks. You have outdoor storage if you want. There's no restrictions on a heavy industrial.
But after we did that deal, the same investor that put the money up for it, there was a property that came available in Oakland County on the tax sale, and it was originally a buggy factory for the Union troops in the Civil War in Pontiac. And then later, it became the first assembly line for Oakland, some type of car, Oakland or something, I don't know, some car, can't remember the name of it. And then later it became a GM assembly line for one of the cars that they used. So that roof had collapsed on that building. So the acquisition cost from the auction was $20,000, and the repair cost ran close to $150,000, and but when we got done, we had no user for it, so we used it for storage for boats and cars and stuff for a while, and then we finally found a good tenant for it. Eventually ended up with a really good sale out of it, so that was my second experience in a warehouse.
Yeah, warehousing it's kind of overlooked, but you just got to find a different use. The building has a value, but most people don't see it. So they drive right by it and just ignore the opportunity. So Mark said, the price is there. The people that own it, they don't know what to do. It's empty. They're paying taxes on it. They don't know they have no other solution.
So Walter, you find a blown out, or Hartford, you find a blown out warehouse, what would you do right now today? Knowing just what little bit he said. Well, okay, yeah, and that would be greatly appreciated. But you would understand the steps.
Yeah.
You'd understand that you'd be the path to the guy who's the leading cold storage guy, and you, and those sometimes can be difficult to get to too. But you use whatever contacts or create your partnership to be able to do that. And then once you're with those guys, you're basically, they've got the people that can fill that. So the question becomes, is what do you got to do with them to make sure that their people come there? And then once you've got that, think about it, you've got kind of the whole package right there. The money part's going to be easy. I mean,
it's all income driven.
Because you've got the whole,
you got the money who's going to pay for the building.
Even though it's blown out, and you've got the guy that can put the people in there. Follow?
So you're saying like
it's a lot more simple than people think it is.
Like the deal you were talking about, you were able to find a third party to put up all the money.
Because he saw the income.
If you've got the realtor with the people in hand that can fill that building, and he can direct them there, and he can, trust me, if you got the right guy, then you've got it assembled. I mean, you just need
can find
the money
to
source
fund
at that
the
point.
rehab. It's not hard.
So the difficult part is what? Finding the deal. You need to find the blown out warehouse. But you've got motivated people sitting on that stuff.
Because the people that own it, just think about, you're in there, if you put yourself in their shoes. He had a tenant there for I don't know how many years, and this guy was stuffing it full of bumpers and paying rent. Then the guy finally figured out he couldn't sell those bumper skins, so he just skipped town. And the landlord goes, what am I going to do now? He doesn't know what it costs to take the bumpers
What
out.
the landlord did was he died.
So the son
got it, and that's who brought it to me.
And the son has even less background. He doesn't understand. He didn't know how to solve the problem. So it just sat there, and then, the taxes are clicking, and the building just became real in disrepair.
It was a liability.
Yeah, basically. So anyway, that's what I said. It's you just gotta change your outlook on a building. You say, wow, what do I own dumpy building like that? Well, you gotta see, you could do something with it. There's potential with it. Just like an old house. Houses are limited because it's so inexpensive to build a house. I mean, just saying, to build a building like this building on Bellevue, even if you built one 10 years ago, it's still gonna be $50 a foot. So we bought the building for a fraction of that, of a replacement cost. I mean, it had all the parking lot in, the fence was in, the truck roll was in. You can't, it's like giving it away. We bought it for pennies on the dollar. So as I said, you can't lose. You just look at it that way. You can't lose because you've got such an asset there, an income producing asset. There's no way you can lose. So that's kind of how you got to change your perspective when you're evaluating property. I mean, there's environmental issues, but industrial, it's not really a big deal unless you put a different use in. But like Mark was saying, cold storage or indoor storage of cars or boats, there's no issue with that. But if you brought a manufacturing plant in where people are going to be working, then there's environmental issues, but there's environmental attorneys that deal with that. In Michigan, the law is that the new buyer is, as long as you do a BEA, a Brownfield Environmental Assessment, the new buyer is not liable, the old buyer is, or the old owner is liable. So the attorney would file documents with the state of Michigan and it delineates that as of this date, say the close would be May 1st, 2019, the new owner of the LLC is not liable, but whoever owned it in the past, it stays with them. And that liability does not transfer to the new owners. You identify what's there, and most of the time, unless it's an active leak or there's drums sitting in there, you've got to haul it away. But if it's not, you just leave it. You just leave the problem.
That's unique to Michigan.
Yeah, most states don't do that. They make you clean it up. But Michigan, because of its industrial background, you can never clean everything up here. It's impossible. So what you do is you cover it. So there's an issue of tanks in the back behind the building, you pave over it. So no one can get to it. You just seal it in. No one's gonna go down there and start eating the dirt. So you put pavement over it. and that meets the state of Michigan code. I'll give you the name of Nick Maloof. I don't know if we could write it down. He's in Bloomfield Hills, but he's the environmental attorney that handles this kind of stuff all day long for investors, developers.
And we can send that out.
If you
And then
join
email follow-up.
27 monthly meetup, Nick's in there doing a workshop.
Yeah, he did a whole presentation on the brownfield laws and all the grants, and dramatically it's changed to the benefit of the developer or an investor now. Because now what Nick does is he does projects in Detroit. I think he did 30 in Detroit last year as an environmental consultant. Developers from other states and other countries even come to Michigan and buy industrial properties. He bulldozes what's there, and then the state gives them grants, $20–30 million, depending on what they're going to put there, to pay to bulldoze the building and build a new building. So that's a huge incentive.
And if, today we bought that same warehouse. Nick, we could go to Nick and he would take us to Wayne County. And what would be available in grant money, or given money for that building
Probably
today?
$10 or $15 million. So if I had a user for it, the grant money would allow me to scrape that site that's there. Like I said, it's all block, just piles of block, probably, I don't know, 2 acres of block, probably 20 feet high. That's what's on the site now. Because it went to back taxes once the tenant moved out. We just let it go at that time, and it went to back taxes. So the city of Detroit owns it. Just sits there. So the city's incentive is for a new developer to come in and build a new building and put new people in there and employ more people. So it's a huge win-win in industrial in Michigan.
But if you had the existing building, you wanted to do repairs to it, what grants are available?
There's grants for that too, and it's probably in the millions of dollars too, because it'd be called obsolete. Michigan has an obsolescence law. If the building is not meeting current standards for efficiency, they give you the money to build a new building and to bring it up to the new energy code. LED lighting, high efficiency cooling, a new roof, a new parking lot. There's all kinds of different benefits. Again,
all forgiven.
The state just gives you the money because you're bringing employment, you're bringing an outside or even an inside state current manufacturer or assembler. So they're just trying to incentivize that. And right now in Detroit too, Nick talks about it in his presentation on the meetup site. I'm just giving you little snippets of it, but it's powerful stuff. The city of Detroit doesn't want industrial buildings vacant. So they instituted a law in the city of Detroit that if the parking lot is not paved, they call it impermeable surface. So for every acre of impermeable surface, there's no parking lot, you pay $750 a month in additional tax. So there's a lot of sites sitting around there, 10 acres, 20 acres, so you can do the math every month. And if you don't pay it, after 3 years, the state takes it, or the city, the county takes the property from it. And then what they do with it is they put it out to get it redeveloped. So that's how they're kind of like cleaning up Detroit. So people don't do something with the property, they're making you do something. Either sell it or put the money into the needs to get in by using these different grants. They want you to use the grant money to change the industrial sector of Detroit. That's what it's always been. That's really the highest, best use of Detroit is industrial. It's always been that way since, wow, I don't know, the 1700s. When Detroit was founded. It was a big fur trading. They used to do all the fur state tannery for the leather and all the animal furs, all went through all these different plants in Detroit. And then it became a manufacturing center and just all these years and decades and generations. But now they want to bring that back because just think about Detroit. It's got all the power infrastructure. Not many cities in America have the power capacity Detroit has. All the power's there, the water's there, the sewer's there. You got the Detroit River for transport. You got all the big intermodal container locations in Detroit. You pick the container up, load it on the back of a semi. They distribute manufactured goods. Detroit wants to come back because it's not anything but a manufacturing town. So might as well use it. The money and the infrastructure is already here. Why not use it? Put it back to use. So employs a lot more people, pay a higher wage. I mean, that Rivian is really interesting. They notified it yesterday. Ford Motor, first it was General Motors and General Motors passed, but Ford Motor yesterday do a joint venture with Rivian. They're the first electric pickup truck. And Ford gave them $500 million, and they did a joint venture, and they can start producing electric pickup trucks, fully electric, and SUVs, and they're building in Detroit. So just that tells you that it's unbelievable what's going to happen in Detroit. And then, you know, I don't know, it was last fall, I think, or last summer, that Ford Motor bought the train station in Detroit. I think it redeveloped all that. There's an undisclosed number, but Manny Maroon's family sold it. I'm sure it was in the billions that they paid for the train station. That whole Coraltown area. So Ford's going to make that a big R&D center, and it's mind-boggling. But I said the Rivian thing was really a big thing for Ford. They decided we don't want to do it, but we got the money. And Rivian's developed a pickup and SUV, fully electric vehicles. And they'll be out in 2 years. They'll be producing and rolling off the assembly line. So as I said, Detroit is like an industrial mecca. There's no other industrial center anywhere. Chicago can't match the ability Detroit has for assembly and manufacturing. So I'm working on some stuff with Detroit with Mark that they're like fringe properties in Detroit, but they're industrial, just not big sites. Because I see what's coming. I know what's going to happen. Industrial is going to go through the roof, the valuation of them, and the demand keeps shrinking, and the demand keeps growing, but the capacity is shrinking. Exactly that many more industrial sites available. So whatever's zoned is zoned. They're not going to rezone residential into industrial, but whatever's industrial is, it's going to be a huge valuation change in 3 years, I think. That's what the brokers tell me. Mark said you constantly network with industrial brokers if you want to go in that direction. And you just befriend them and talk to them and keep in touch with them. Because they hear all this stuff. And Mark's known that, and I know that they don't ever compete with you. Don't think because the brokers say, hey, I got this building, and come on, let's walk through it, I got a tenant for it. They're never going to go buy the building with the tenant in it. Brokers are transactional people. They just match up you as a landlord with their client as the tenant, and they get the fee. They just go to the next closing, They're not going to go buy the building and put their tenant in. They just don't do that. So those are the people, that's a key part of your team as a broker that knows who's coming, what they need, what they'll pay. Because just think about that. He controls where they go. They just give him a search ring. I need to be in Detroit, east side or west side. I'll pay X amount. This stuff is not published.
One of the reasons I want to do this is we're not in a position to put the feet on the street. I mean, there's deals all over the place, but people aren't aware of the monies that are available in grants and other stuff to be purchased or acquired. But you can kind of see the end picture of how simple it is to put it together. So we're looking to find that kind of stuff today.
You just put all the pieces together. Like I said, it's like a perfect storm.
We can supply, not only can we can supply the leads to you with the phone numbers with who owns the property because of some of the people we've got on our team.
Yeah, Maureen's got all the database to track all those owners, whether from Italy or China or France or Ohio. She has all the database. It's mind-boggling. Yeah, everything's data.
Or the mom and pop in Detroit that owns it.
Right. They don't know what to do with it. They want to retire. They said, the kids, like, it happens all the time. The parents get sick or die, and the kids go, I don't want it, just sell it. They have no idea what it's worth. They don't see the future of that. Because again, you actually said you keep in track of what's going on in the news. You keep in touch with industrial brokers. Because they know everything. They get the assignments.
See, that one warehouse surpasses anything you could ever do with housing, if you think about it. It's like, you've got certain money goals, maybe they're totally met in that one deal.
Yeah, there was a deal that I know I could talk about. This was in Plymouth, Michigan. I kicked myself so many times I almost broke my leg. But it was a deal. It was a dirty, contaminated property. The again, Nick Maloof got in charge and helped us out, but we flipped it. It was on Helm Street. They should have kept it. It was an old cardboard box manufacturing center. It went broke. The company went bankrupt. We found out the company who owned it got them to deed the property to us for $1. Then we did $300,000 cleanup because it had a bunch of contamination. It was stuff that had a hole. It was right on site, in the parking lot and in the building. And we ended up selling for $500,000. So I made $200 grand. But thinking back, like Mark said, I wish this founder investor cleaned it up, put a tenant in it, and kept it. If you go by there today, it's still an operational manufacturing plant. Everything was intact. It just had contamination, and the previous corporation that owned it went broke. And it's a great part of Plymouth. But again, you just think, why not just take the money, just flip it? But looking back, I said, there's always money around. It was stupid. There's always money around. If you've got an end use for that building, don't beat the door down and come and partner with you. Go ahead.
So you got an island building, for example, or warehouse. Do you call somebody like Nick to come in and say, look, is there any environmental?
Well, that's down the road you do that.
Okay.
Yes, first you get it under contract. Find the owner, get a price, get it tied up for 60 days with no cost, due diligence time. Then you bring Nick in. Again, it's so data driven. He has satellite photos, he has the state of Michigan MDEQ records. They show all the contamination back to 1900. It's all on a computer. So you'll say there might have been an issue, or maybe it's not. It's on a Superfund site. It tells you all that right over the phone.
See, that warehouse had major contamination. We had the railroad tracks. We had, was it arsenic?
Yeah, when the train spilling.
So
again, when you categorize
encapsulated. Dave over.
Yeah. But
we were good.
But again, I don't know that kind of stuff. But Nick's an environmental attorney. He knows all that stuff because that's all he does. He was he worked for a big environmental firm. He was can't think of the word, a specialist in soils, a soils engineer, I guess I put it that way. And he said, you know what? I only could make this much money. He went to school, became an attorney. Now he just does environmental law. He doesn't do regular laws, that's his niche. So all these attorneys refer business to him. And he's buried with business, because that's all he does. So he knows all the different committees, he knows all the grants, he knows all the different rules and regulations. And that's all he does. It's this whole niche of law. Most attorneys say, what? I don't know environmental. Call Nick. I mean, that's what they do. They get a referral fee. They refer him to Nick. Because they know they don't understand that world.
So we'll tell you another really bad thing that happened to us. It was the Packard plant.
Yeah. Not the Packard plant.
The Utica packing plant.
Well, that was quite
we bought
it. We bought it for $600 grand. It sat on 32 acres. In the city of Utica.
And guess where the investor came from? That bought it.
The Bellevue.
He came from the Packard plant because we made tons of money there. He thought, well,
the same.
Yeah. He's smiling all over himself. So we go, here, we got the Utica packing plant. So he put the money up.
The only bad thing was
we weren't obligated on anything. We were like a partner. He was a partner in it with us. He put the money up, he was at risk, but he also kept the ability to make the decisions. That was our big mistake. So,
because again, I met the broker out there. As soon as he had the contract for $600 grand, and we closed on it with this partner's money. Mark and I put not one cent in. We closed on it. Subsequently, you have 45 days to do a BEA, so Nick did the BEA. So the previous owners, it was a pig slaughter plant. So the previous corporation became liable for any environmental there. Nick did it. Because it had leaking transformers, it had all kinds of pig guts and slop in the sewer system. We weren't liable for it. But the big thing is, like Mark said, we couldn't convince the money partner to lease it.
That's why I bought a hog farm later in life.
I mean, there was all kinds of. You go in, there's this burnt hair everywhere. I just really creepy place anyway. But the thing is, the broker walked through there, Joel Hanway, walked through with Mark, and he goes, I can lease this whole thing for $2 a foot. He goes, I got a user for it. So we went to the financial partner, he goes, no, we're not gonna rent it. We're gonna renovate it, we're gonna hold out for more money. I said, we gotta take it, this is the deal. Everyone's been paid $200,000 a month for something you paid 600 grand for. Because all the power was there.
Yikes.
The building was there, it had a parking lot, it had 16 truck wells, everything was operational.
And the previous owner was on the hook to clean it up.
Yeah, so we didn't have to clean it up, but it was just ready to go. The parking lot was there, there was no garbage in it except for.
So that financial partner killed the deal, and we eventually, years and years later, lost the property for back tax.
Yeah, he ended up, honestly, out of his pocket, he had a bulldozer too.
Yeah.
The city forced him to tear the building down because he never put a user in it. They said, we don't want an abandoned empty warehouse in our city.
Did he ever fix it up?
No, he bulldozed.
So he never renovated it.
No, and then he lost it for taxes. And if you go there today, guess what's there? A Utica soccer field.
Oh.
Because the city got it.
Sure.
And there's 40 acres. So they leveled everything out, put grass over all. It's a huge soccer arena. I mean, outdoor soccer field. One field after another. But again, at the time, the thing is with real estate, I mean, that's my motto. If it doesn't pay, find out how to get it to pay. Just lease it. Everything's driven by dollars. Yeah, and if you get a deal, you don't just say, you know what, we'll wait for the next 10. No. That's the deal. It's an empty building. The tenant would have done it. In the commercial buildings too, usually the tenant, as long as the building was clean, this building was emptied out. They do all the build out. The tenant does. You don't pay any money.
But I never got to meet you if we had been successful with that one.
Because they were just moved in and, broom cleaned it, painted the floor, and moved their operation. Whoever this broker had the tenant, I don't even know who it was. Because we never got to hear. The financial partner said, no way, we're not leasing it for that little bit.
And he had really no background to be able to
understand the scope of what he was doing. And he said, we made so much money in their building, let's hold up for more rent. And another tenant never came. Like I said, I think it was 7 years it sat empty. And he was paying for it to sit empty, taxes on it, insuring it.
But you guys didn't financially out.
No, like Mark said, he went down the drain with it. I mean, he was a wealthy guy. He lost a lot of money on it, but
he's still very wealthy today.
Just an expensive seminar.
But
he was being penny wise and pound foolish.
It was not a good thing for us. We had tons of hours into the property.
Yeah, we never got paid basically. Just kind of There was another one talking about on Telegraph Road there in Waterford.
More stupidity.
Yeah, well.
But we made money.
We made money on it, but again, we flipped it. It was an old office building. It had a leaky roof, and the ceiling tiles were all falling in. A lot of the windows were broken. There was animals living in it, raccoons living in the building. It's like 20,000 foot building. Perfect parking lot. It's right on Telegraph Road where it hits Dixie. Now, of course, Dixie Telegraph goes through. But at that time, it dead end. It's an office building sitting there. I don't know what we paid for. I think it was $200 grand.
Actually, it's on Dixie. If you make a left onto Dixie, just go.
Yeah, a quarter mile, not
less
far.
than a quarter of a mile, the building was there.
In
today, it's leased to the same
state of Michigan.
State of Michigan.
The guy that bought it from us, we flipped it, we cleaned it up and made it a white box. We cleaned it out, fixed the roof, repaired the roof. We don't replace it, repair it. Put tiles in it, painted all the interior walls, fixed the broken glass, and then we walked through with the broker. He goes, I got a buyer. And it was, again, we should have said, no, I don't want to buy it, I want to lease it. We just figured, the time's ticking, take the money.
Yeah.
I think we borrowed the money at 20% interest to rehab. But still, just sort of hung on to it and say, no, we will lease it only, because the guy that bought it put the state of Michigan in it.
Yeah, that's
the state of Michigan put elevators in it, and they carpeted it all, and it's still a state of Michigan tenant to building right now.
It's like a life lease.
basically, yeah, they do 100-year lease, 425-year lease options. So again, that's kind of an expensive seminar, but I'm just trying to tell you the upside of a dirty
we made
rotten
money
building.
on that flip.
Yeah, we made a couple $100,000.
So it was, if you look at it,
Pennies compared to what you could do. Because the broker had them use it. We just gave them the wrong instruction. We said sell it. We should have said, lease it. We just want to lease it. It's not for sale. Because again, the building was so inexpensive. It's 16,000 feet for $200,000. You can't even do a parking lot for that price. And it was all there. It was a brick, 2-story office building. So I'm just kind of giving you examples of things that it's hard to see that kind of stuff, but hopefully these examples give you an idea of turnarounds. That's all these are, is turnarounds.
But when you look at the building, see, today, Oakland County, on that same building, has the money for the roof, has the money for all the repairs, grant money.
Yeah, they have renovation grant money.
They want you to clean up old buildings.
Right.
Back then, it was just tenants, but now they incentivize you by allowing you to get grant money to bring that buildings up to code.
And those same buildings exist today. We chased one in, not Troy, but right next to Troy.
Yeah, Madison Heights.
Madison Heights.
Yeah, that was really sad.
We had an international type buyer that didn't take action on it, so we finally were able to take action. Like a week prior to that, we got bumped out of position.
Yeah, someone came in and
the money was there for everything from the county. It was.
Yeah, it was really sad. Yeah, and just timing again. People say they're going to do it, and they didn't do it. So someone came in, swooped in, and took the building. If you go there now, it's fully leased. It was a 12,000-foot building, so it's got 8,000 foot on one side and 4 on the other. 2 electric services. They could have bought the building as a shell for around $300,000.
So
that's like you can't do the parking lot for that. And the truck wells it had, it was 20-foot clear, heavy power, had a crane in it. Again, the guy that owned it, he lived in the building. He owned the building and operated the business out. He made transmission parts for Ford transmissions for pickups. This is late 60s. He fired all his employees. He still has a little account. He'd go in and make these little gears for the transmission and sell them. He goes, I just want to get out. I want to sell the building. That's all I got. I have no debt on it. He had it for sale for like 3 years. I just want to go to Florida. I just want to go to Florida. And the time just kept ticking. The price kept dropping. And like Mark said, we brought somebody in, but they went sideways. So some other hawk came in and took it. And I heard about it from the broker. I knew the broker that had it listed. He's a big industrial broker. He goes, Pat, I got a perfect building for you. Because he knows how I think. I want a dirty, rotten building with upside. Because most people won't take that on. They can't see the mud. All they see is a ratty building. Wow, it smells. There's oil on the floor. And, you can't clean this building up. But I know you can't. There's nothing you can't clean up. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. But again, over time, you get to understand what does it cost. If you're buying the building, even if it's ratted out, you're buying it way less than it costs to build a new building. You can't lose. Even if you had a wholesale, like Marcy, you get under contract, you say, you know what? I don't want to get a partner and borrow $300,000 and put a JV and get it leased out. Just flip it, make $150,000. How many houses you got to do to make $150,000? Quite a few. Well, it's no different. It's just bigger. It's the same kind of seller, the same kind of condition, just a bigger building. It's at 1,000 feet. It might be 4,000 or 8,000, or like the building in Detroit is over 100,000 square feet. It's no different. And that's what you just kind of look at that mindset. Like Mark said, you can't let that overcome you and say, oh, I can't do it. It's too much money. And the money's not the issue. It's the value. And the value you can create.
So we got as far as Hartford.
Oh, okay, keep going
Did
around.
they answer your question?
Oh, well, I was going to ask, so when you had the 1 year after 10 years, what was like your
A third.
We were 1/3 partners on that.
I mean, as far as like your involvement, like when you guys like, hey, boys, I'm picking up the check. And
No, there's no checks.
Or whatever. I mean,
The tenant wires the money in the account. You don't go there ever.
So there's really no day-to-day stuff you need to do. Because I'm thinking.
No.
No, well, what was our responsibility to the building? Can you address that?
Yeah,
What, what do we have to fix? What do we have to do as good landlords?
Well, the roof leaked, we had to repair the roof.
That was it.
That was it. If I knew a good roofer, industrial roofer, Joe, they got a leak over in section 5. He'd go over there, he goes, okay, $200. Go up on a ladder. I said, Bob, hey, Joe, make it work for 2 years. Okay, I patched it for 2 years. Because a new roof would be hundreds of thousands. But you don't need to do that. You just repair it.
But
Where
the
it's
money,
leaking, you fix
had
it.
we kept owning that building, the money would have been there in grant money from Wayne
put a new
County
roof
for the
in.
whole new roof on it.
Yeah.
Follow?
And all new lighting and new heating and cooling because they want you to put 80 plus furnaces in, LED lighting, and a new insulated roof. So that's what, and it's still going on now.
Yeah, you get the tax credit
Yeah.
for updating and all of that good
Tax
stuff.
credit and grants for grant.
Yep.
It's grant money. The state has oodles of money to upgrade existing business and buildings in Michigan. It's not just Detroit. It's Oakland County, Wayne County, Macomb County. It's statewide. They give money away. They have to. Because they know they don't want the building in disrepair. And they know if the building is up to par,
But
a better quality.
whatever investor we brought in, we would be using Nick Malou
Yes.
to walk it through.
Yeah, he knows all the people there. He just charges a fee. I don't care. He charges a fee. He's like a broker. He charges a fee. Whatever. If he gets 20 million, you pay you 3%. Go ahead, Nick. I'll give you 3%. Go get the 20 million. That's how he works, and that's fair. He knows the game. He knows the filing, how the paperwork works. Do it. I don't know it. I don't want to know
Companies
it.
will give you tax credits and breaks on updates for, bringing buildings up to code as well.
Yeah. No, the tax ramifications are huge. There's no industry in the whole U.S. tax code, 80,000 pages. It's better than real estate. Nothing. There's so many incentivized tax implementation things, and they're constantly improving it. Because they want to see buildings back. They want to, because the industry brings employment. It's a huge input for the society. Just think of if they built the second headquarters for New York City there, like they were supposed to.
Oh, Amazon.
I can't even imagine the impact that would have on that city. And because people were stupid or ignorant, they chased them away.
Really?
Yeah. They basically chased them out of town. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're going to land next, but that'll be their second headquarters. I'm not sure where they're going to go, but
I'm here.
Yeah.
We'll welcome them with open arms.
But again, all cities and all states really want new employers, which brings new employee opportunities. That's all what they want. That's all it comes down to. And they know they can do that just about any way they want to do it to make you. Well, Maureen, what you told us yesterday about Wixom?
Oh, City of Wixom. Okay, so they had some vacant property there, and over by where the old Ford plant was, and they knew that everybody was going out of state to go to water parks, so they sought out like the developers of Kalahari and what's the Great Wolf Lodge and all of that good stuff, and they solicited them to build an indoor-outdoor water park in Wixom. So not only did it do that, because it did that, it expanded. So now you've got people developing hotels, okay, right there along the Wixom Road corridor in 96. So they had one small hotel, now they have 2 large hotels, and it's, increased all the business. So General RV bought up part of the Wixom plant where they, had done the demo work there for the Ford. And they've expanded because why? You've got people who vacation, and vacationers buy what? RVs. They rent them, they use them. So it's, you know what I mean? It's all of that stuff that's going along that 96 corridor, but the water park is visible from there.
But they incentivized them, right?
Yes, they did. They gave them a bunch of tax credits and what?
Tax-free zone, I think,
Huge.
for 30
Yes,
years.
they did. Yes,
you
they
don't pay
did.
any real estate tax, I think, for 10 years.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So people are going to, hey, come on in.
Well, Wixom did that for Ford. When
Yeah.
they expanded the plant, they put in a paint, booth, like state-of-the-art painting booth and all of this stuff, and they gave them, the city of Wixom gave them huge tax credits to do that,
And
to
that's all
expand the plant.
That's all you're trying to say is use
Yes.
the incentives to your benefit as a landlord or redeveloper of this property.
Right.
Because it's there, they got the money, it's earmarked for that use, so
Right.
why not take advantage of it?
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, they know that in the long run, the revenue that they get from other businesses,
Oh, it's incredible.
Will more than make up for the tax credit that they're giving.
Right.
They know that.
They
know that. Well, it's going to bring in, tourists, it's going to bring in, other businesses, that feed off of those businesses and, so they know that. It's a snowball effect for them, but it's more revenue, more jobs, more, keeps the city viable. It keeps people moving there. So,
Right, it'll make the real estate go up in general,
correct.
just in Wixom.
Exactly.
More housing will be built, more condos.
You got it.
So again, you just read a lot of, there's a good magazine. It's not expensive, it's $59 a year. Crane's Business Detroit.
Yes.
It's a wealth of information. It tells you about all the companies coming in Detroit area and all the ones leaving or ones expanding.
Right.
It's stuff you don't hear on the radio, you don't really see it anywhere else, and that's a lot of the brokers use as their informational vein, I guess. And then they also get listings from tenants from other countries or other states and say, we want to come to Detroit, where should we go? That's how they work.
Well, and they can promote that for businesses that are possibly coming in.
Right.
That's how you can attract those tenants, because you can say X, Y, and Z is happening.
This guy's going here, and this guy's going here.
Exactly. Use that to your advantage.
A lot of this stuff is, you're just riding the wave. You see what's coming, and you just get on the wave with it. You could just have a little tiny surfboard. You don't have to have a big one. You ride along with the wave. Everyone, the boat rises, everyone makes money. Not just a big international or national developer. They could have built hotels for $15 or $20 million. You could just do a little building for $1 million or $500,000. A renovation building site.
So did that answer that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess any other questions? Anyone else want to make any questions or clarifications?
Oh, go ahead. A question. So let's say you got a property. What type of contract do you use? Or how do you set up all the moving parts? Do you get out the contract first? Do like a
you do a letter of intent.
Okay.
That you intend to first meet the owner and say, or the owner's rep, i.e. the broker, and say what do they want, and you just do the numbers with them. And in commercial, it's different. You do a letter of intent. You don't do a purchase agreement usually first. A letter of intent just states, I'm going to purchase this for that, and I want 60 days to determine if I want to buy it.
Okay. Usually the letter of intent comes from an attorney.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, again, Nick or somebody, a good real estate attorney could do it with letter of intent. It's usually 1 page or 2 at the most.
Okay. So basically, whoever plans on buying it, your funder, you would present them the option, and then if they accept it, then that's when you go through with the letter of intent.
Or you go to the next step. After letter of intent burns out, you do a purchase agreement. Then you determine, what's my possibility of making money? And you find an investor that wants to sees your research, what you've done, your homework. And they'll say, I'll fund it. And I see the upside. And you do a purchase agreement and you have it tied up. Commercial really is not like a house. You don't buy it in 30 days. Usually it's a year. Usually it's 6 months minimum with extensions because you want to get site plan approval, all kinds of different approvals before you buy it. And that's common. They understand that. Brokers understand. Owners understand. It's not like a house. Now we're going to close next month. That doesn't happen. There's so many things you got to look at and understand and research before you pull the trigger and say, yep, I want this building, we're going to close.
But Pat, wouldn't you say, because this is what I keep hearing a lot of times, is that the hardest part is to find the deal. The building.
Absolutely.
The easier part is actually to find the funding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Finding the deal is the hardest part. That's.
The funding is out there.
Well, and probably the second, what's critical is you have to have relationships. So the reason Pat's my partner is because that's all he's ever done for his dad. They've got retail, commercial, industrial property, so he knows all the players. So, but unlike his, I'm picking your family a little, his family thinks differently about how to do that than he does. Like, they like to pay commissions. But the brokers are the ones that are controlling the end user, so Pat and I were more than willing to pay commissions plus, because that was our entire exit strategy. Our biggest mistake, other than that warehouse that we kept and rented, was we should have been targeting the renters on everything, because we wouldn't be here today. We'd be in Florida or somewhere
Well,
else.
I'd still be here, just to be a lot different financial perspective. I still love teaching and telling people how to do it. And Mark does it too. You want to tell people how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, today I'm selling picks and shovels to the gold rush, okay? But I'm still in that rush for commercial, industrial properties.
It's there.
I'm
It's still
in
there.
on that game.
Yeah, the opportunities are still
And
there.
I'm in on bird dogging properties for real estate. And so.
Yeah, it's a never-ending supply. And like Maureen said, the toughest part is finding the deal. You just keep sifting and networking and caulking and looking and grasping what the property's worth and what the rental rate is. And you learn that from the broker by befriending them, becoming their friend. I'll tell you, industrial rate in that zip code is $6 a foot all day. This part we can get $8. This market's only $3. Manufacturers want to be in certain zip codes because they get employees. They want to be in a main truck route so they can bring trucks in and out easy. They don't like roads that aren't paved or aren't kept up. That's why Madison Heights and Troy are so hot. Because the roads are always first class. It's easy access. There's a student in the class, she's not here tonight, but she told me about a guy selling a building in Troy. She told me it was Clawson. No, it was Troy. He's a motivated seller. He's moving his business out of the building, but the building's a real rat's nest. But that's perfect. I love rat nest. Roof's bad. He's never had paint on it. The parking lot's all cracked up. And I already talked to the broker. He goes, I'll go look at it and let you know next week what kind of tenant I can get you there and what kind of rental rate you can pay. And then I predicate my price on that. It's all, you just work it backwards. How much rent can you generate? And here's what I want to pay for the building, because I'm not going to overpay. And I budget from my experience what it costs to clean it up. But again, like Mark said, I would go to Oakland County and get a grant to put a new roof on. The roof's trash, but he doesn't know that. The owner doesn't know that. He thinks, oh, a new roof, 120 grand. So I'm going to buy it. Yeah, the roof's trash. I take 120 grand off because the roof's gone. I'm not paying for it. So I'm just trying to say, it's there. They're out there. Those kind of buildings are there. People get older, or their business fails, or they move their business, they consolidate, they want to downsize. There's all kinds of reasons why they want to move out from a bigger building and A, go out of business, or just downsize and go rent space. Because they get to the point where they can't afford to fix the building. They know they got to write the check. They don't want to do that. Roof's leaking, all the material in the building keeps getting wet. I got to get out of here. Because they don't understand.
You've got a corporation that's making money, profitable, and it's got functional obsolescence plants and buildings that it's not using, then they can donate that property. And I've got the charity that
Mark's got a charity
that would be glad to partner with any of you, that they could donate that property and they can take 10% off their net earnings and carry it forward up to 5 years. So you see the value of that building now becomes if they got the right appraisal, becomes incredible to them. And it becomes a donation. The charity is a winner. If the charity can functionally use part of the building, then you just, remember the charity's a nonprofit, and nonprofits pay property tax.
No. All hospitals are nonprofits, they don't pay real estate tax.
But could the charity be generating money from that property that goes right back to what its mission is? And could you win inside that process? Yes, you could.
Again, the tax code is an incredible tool. It's there for everybody. I don't know every part of it, but I know people that do, and that's who you engage with. They know it because they do it all day long. Once you know the overview of how it works, then you hire the expert that knows all the minutiae of how it works, and they're the ones that make sure it's done right. You just understand the concept. We talk about all the concepts, all the benefits that are there. They're out there. Whether people take advantage of it or not. Like I said, this building in Troy, the owner doesn't know the roof could be, he can get a grant to put a new roof on and new electrical, new HVAC in the building. He doesn't know that. I'm not telling him. So he sees that he moved out because he's got a bad leak, he can't operate his business anymore, and he knows if he's got to rent it out at $7 a foot, I'm guessing it's in that range in that part of Troy. And it's a triple net. In commercial buildings, I don't know if you guys know this topic, but commercial industrial, the tenant pays for everything, called triple net. The first net is taxes, the second net is real estate, fire insurance, and the third is maintenance. So it'd be like a $7 triple net lease. The nets are probably $2.50 or $3 a square foot, so really the tenant's paying $10 a foot for a lease. But $3 of it is the taxes on the building, which could be 12 grand, 20 grand. Like this industrial building in Troy, the taxes are $18,000 a year. I don't pay it, the tenant pays it. I mean, I pay it, but the tenant reimburses me for it, and that's common. That's common and customary. And the fire insurance is probably $4 grand a year. I pay it, but the tenant pays me for it. And then maintenance, snow plow, cutting the grass, maintaining the roof. What you do is on a commercial roof, as an industrial roof, you put a deductible on and say, I as a landlord, I'll take care of the first $1,000. After that, it's on you. So if it's 10 grand, 2 grand, 3 grand, they gotta pay it. But I'll pay the first 1,000. And then your roof repair. Other than that, they take care of everything. You do take care of the lighting, the electrical, the bathroom, the toilets back up, they pay for it. Someone breaks the window, that's what the insurance covers. If someone drove into the building with a truck making a delivery, the insurance covers that. That's a damage that was hit by someone's vehicle. I don't pay for that. You make an insurance claim. So that's what's good about, you talked about headaches of a landlord, industrial, commercial, there is no headaches. You push them off, they're not yours. And if something does happen, like I said, it's either insurance or it's minor. It's not like a house or an apartment, oh, the door's squeaked. Oh, my carpet's dirty, the carpet's ripped. I don't care, you fix it. As a landlord in the commercial industrial area, the tenants understand, and that's the way the lease is written, and that's the usual customary lease in Michigan and a lot of other states. I'm just talking about Michigan now. The landlord is not responsible, and it's written that way in the lease. And the tenant's happy to pay it.
So you mentioned that one of the downsides is it can take up to 6 months to a year. And
to purchase it.
Yeah. What other?
That's not a downside.
I guess my
Because
question.
you have it under control, like Mark said. When you have an asset under control, no one else can buy it.
Yeah. So
You got it. And then you decide, do you want to do it or not? So you're just spending your time to analyze it and talk to the broker, determine what kind of rent can you get.
Right, you're tying it up so that way somebody doesn't go around you.
Right, no one else can buy it.
And they, but in the meantime, you're able to work through all of the things with your, due diligence.
Yes.
And working all of those numbers out, and then finding an investor that wants to do the deal with you.
So what are the cons that you see?
Cons is
maybe your time.
Your time and
making sure that when you're putting the deal together that you have the capacity to control the end use like when we didn't have that in the Utica packaging plan, I'm not gonna do that trip again.
Right. So you're not locked out that you need to do something and the investor
You need
says
to have
no.
a clear understanding with the investor that you're gonna cash flow that property, but
He's a silent
if
partner.
there's a deal, if the deal comes where there's money on the table for a rental situation, we're taking it, you know. And then maybe when the market, when that situation ends, the market's like way up there, then, you know.
Yeah, you just gotta be able to negotiate or discuss things with your partner, whoever that is.
Yeah.
That, you know, you're there for the biggest return. That's what he should be, not for holding something. No one makes money holding something, in my experience, because inflation eats it away in overhead carrying cost. Say industrial building, like the building in Utica, I'll go back to Utica. The taxes are like $40,000 a year. So he's paid insurance on it and taxes on it. Plus he had debt on it. I mean, he put equity in it, was his own money, but still, what's your return on an empty building? You're bleeding. You don't ever want an empty building. You want
And the money he put in, he had interest on it, so he was bleeding us too. Do you follow? He signed on his own debt too, but
it just, you don't win.
Stupid.
Your building, your job is to get the building occupied with someone paying rent. No building is good when it's empty.
Forrest Gump's mom said, "Stupid is as stupid does."
So as I said, that's what's so great about industrial and commercial is you limit the downside, like Mark said, by analyzing it and structuring your partnership. But the upside's so huge. Yeah. For your amount of time you spend, would you want to make $100,000 or $10,000? It takes the same amount of time to do a house, or even 2 houses in a year. Right? By the time you buy a house, budget it, get it cleaned up, and then get on the market and try to get it sold, pay your commission on selling it, and what do you have left? That's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work doing a house. Industrial commercial is easy, in my opinion. I never really did homes. I've always done commercial industrial. It's easier because your payday's bigger, and because it's not so time intensive, it's mostly data driven and research driven. You could have 2 or 3 properties tied up, and you're working on them. Okay, one falls apart, so you got 2. So I'm just trying to open your eyes to the possibilities that it's not daunting. It's not saying, oh, I'm not a multi-millionaire. I can't do industrial. I can't do commercial. Yeah, you could. It's just looking for the turnaround. Don't do development. I talked about that in one of my past presentations. It's kind of a long story, but I'll sum it up that if you go into development, prepare to have twice as much money necessary that you could raise if you have to raise it. Because things are fluid and change. You get a commitment letter from a bank and they say they're going to fund this development 100%. They change their commitment letter. You got to raise the equity. If you don't have the equity, you go down the drain. And that's kind of what happened to me. I overreached. I talked about a little bit on a previous presentation, but the dumb thing was I had an exit. There was an owner, a developer that had experience in this kind of property. He wanted to buy us out and gave us basically $500,000 each and walked away, plus cover our costs. I keep saying, well, no, I can do it, but I really should have just. If you see it's going to be a rocky path and you don't see a real clear way out, just sell out. You can always sell out. Again, that's a different world. Development's a lot different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about renovation projects. New development is the most risky thing you can do, honestly. It takes so much time, effort, and front-loaded cost. So engineering, architectural, permits, there's so many hoops to hop through, and every year it grows how many hoops you got to hop through to build a new commercial industrial building. So I just focus on redevelopment properties. It's more return, it's less risk, and like I said, there's an unlimited amount of them out there. You just got to keep sifting and looking for them, but they're out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a different question on a different turn.
Sure.
Like I spoken about in the video, I have like a friend, family member that's looking for hotels down in a different area. Is tying up a hotel or an apartment building the same as tying up a commercial property?
Yeah.
Or is it different?
Same thing.
Same thing.
It's a commercial property.
True.
But that is a tougher nut to crack because in 2019 is a huge demand for hotels and multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, you just gotta dig deeper and become more networked into the off-market and on-market. And market other found a lot of off-market hotels and off-market apartments that you can buy. They're not in the broker community because there's so much demand. I don't know where it's come from, but it's really flared up in Michigan and especially Florida. I mean, that's a booming state. The population grows by the hour. There's 20 million people living there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
It's the third most populous state in the country. California's 36 million, Texas 34, Florida's 20 million people.
Wow.
And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And who doesn't want to live in Florida?
I find it moving.
Right? That's what I'm saying. You just, everything's appreciating there.
So the person that's putting the money up, have you pre-qualified to make sure they qualify? They do. So then talk to Pat after this meeting because he does have something there
Yeah, there's sources out there
that would
have that kind of
that's not it's not on the market, but it's an incredible thing. So
Great.
I don't know if it'll fit. There's a hotel there, but it's an entire project within 30 miles of distance.
Mm-hmm. It just depends on how much money, if you have 10 million liquid or 20 million liquid. Because in commercial, again, this is a development project, it's not an existing hotel.
Oh, development, okay.
Yeah, but with this project, cash is king. Like any industrial property, or someone wants to build Menards. Menards owns their own. They only have 300 in the country, but the family that owns Menards builds their own and they own it. But they just come to the table with a $10 million letter of credit and say, we want this dirt. Who's going to argue? And that's kind of how development goes. That's what this project is for. But if you could show proof of funds for $9 million, you can buy the project and then you build it out.
Both of these people, like one, like you say, they prefer existing, just like you.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to find. Like I was telling Mark, it's real competitive right now.
Very.
Because money is so cheap from New York for those kind of projects.
Yeah.
I have a friend and he's in a group of buying some big apartment complex in Detroit. It's in the CBD, Central Business District. He bought it from a REIT. Closing sometime this month or early May. The REIT bought it in 2008 for how much? $2 million. It's over 100 units. It's at the peak, that's at the trough. And his group is paying $32 million for it. But there's still upside because apartments in Detroit now lease for almost $2 a square foot. That's unheard of numbers. Apartments usually lease for like $1.20. Detroit, they're $2 a square foot.
So they're more expensive in Detroit?
Yes.
Wow.
In the CBD, the Central Business District. Because there's no homes.
Yeah.
So people say, I just want to live in an apartment and I want to park my car in the parking structure.
Is that Midtown?
No, it's Arden Park. Oh. This REIT's owned it since 08. They got an offer now at $32 million. They said, we're cashing out. But they kept the rents at $1.20. So his plan is, over the next year, the rents are going to go, and it's worth $42 million. Again, in commercial, it's the only thing that's really drives the value, really, is the rents. Everything's predicated on the income. So that's why they're buying it. Even at $32 million, they're getting money out of New York, interest only with no principal for 10 years. It's a fixed rate. Because they want to fund housing and hotels. That's what New York wants to fund. And they got billions of dollars waiting to go in it.
Wall Street.
Wall Street. That's where all the big money comes from. That's the biggest financial center of the whole world, bigger than Hong Kong is New York. They lend all the money to banks, private investors, REITs, different funds, and that's what they want. That's why it's driven values of hotels up and apartments up, because of all this money's cheap. But yeah, it's out there. It just takes time to find reasonable apartments that you could buy and make money. You don't want to buy a 2-cap. You have 2% return. It's hard to find a good performing apartment in the right zip code, the right city.
So now, we've heard other people say that they wouldn't do anything under 10 units. What do you think?
I would never do that.
Never do anything under 10
No, I just run. I'd rather wash cars. I'd rather work at the car wash. Really, because it's just so time intensive. Unless you had a relative you trusted, and he lives in unit number 1.
Property manager
and he
on
lives
site,
there and does everything.
Right.
Collect the rent, cut the grass, fix the squeaky doors, keep the neighbors from fighting, get rid of the errant dogs, or whatever kind of problems come up. It's just so people intensive. That's just an apartment. I never did apartments, but I just hear from friends that own apartments, you know, associates that own apartments, and they don't go under 24 units. They just won't do it.
Well, it's because it's got to be able to pay for that property
Yeah,
management,
right. And that's why you can't, unless you have that 24 or bigger. Under that, it's a lot of trouble. Go ahead.
But so, just for example,
unless you want to live there.
Well, see, this is good.
You can do that.
That's what I was looking at.
But your job would never end.
Like that to start off with, but I mean, this is making so much more sense to me instead of dealing with fourplex or duplex or something like that. So that kind of leads to my question is, for somebody like me, just for some reason I'm able to find a deal. Like what would be my next steps? I mean, I don't know an industrial broker right now. I don't know. So it would be like I could call you up and say, hey, I found a deal.
Yeah, we
Well,
structure.
first thing out of your mouth is, do you understand the definition of partnership?
Well, yeah. I understand that needs to be worked out, right?
Hi, Dad. You want to be my partner?
Right.
There be, you know.
You got to do your homework and find out what the building is, what kind of rent. That's a due diligence on your part.
And that was another question.
What would the seller sell it for? Not what he has it listed for what he thinks it's worth. What would he sell for? It's reasonable. What kind of tenant could go in there? How much rent would they pay? What zip code it's in? And physically, what does the building look like? I need at least that to. And that's my email address. I put it right up there at the top of the board.
We can give you leads to go after.
Yeah.
Can we do that, Maureen?
Yeah, sure.
So we can give you the leads. Okay. It's the same stuff we're chasing, but we can't chase it all. And then it's just
You're just sorting through properties. You dialogue with the owner, track down the owner, and.
So can you run down the list of things that I would need to have together before I say, hey, look, I found something in.
Well, what I do, I'll give you a shortcut. Maureen will give you the owner of the property and the information on it. What I do is I call the assessor, whatever city it's in, and ask them for their card. It's like a field card on the whole building. It shows all the transactions, what the SEV and what the taxes are, and it usually tells you what the income is, or just it'll give you some indication of that. If there's any violations, and that gives you like an overview of that building. It's got photos, aerial photos, street photos of it, and then you work from there.
Okay.
And you find a broker that does that kind of property in that area, and ask him what kind of rental rate is he getting in that area. And that's kind of, you compile all that data.
Okay.
And then physically go see the building, take pictures of it, just kind of put a summary together. What is it? What's the possibility there?
But you can work side by side with them along that process, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just by email, and as I said, it's not simple. I mean, it's not difficult. It's a simple, process.
It's kind of ridiculous when you look at like we do, like these bullpens, and everybody shows up to chase the leads. But the thing that's in my world even more simple than that, there's nobody doing it. So,
kind of, in the beginning I said it seems like it's a lot less headache than dealing with residential real estate. And
It is.
Affirming what I thought.
You don't think that because you just think dollars. The dollars hold you back.
Well, you're looking at, you're intimidated by who's already in that game and what it's like, and then you're actually, it's your own conversation internally that's got you, basically when you're talking to yourself, there's like, you're not talking to the brightest person in the world. I'm talking about myself when I start taking my own advice.
That's a great point.
But it's, you know, you've already got your own values and standards and all that stuff, and that you decided that that's too big a thing and only money people can do that or whatever. That's not true at all.
No, it's not. The people that want to sell, like Mark's saying,
They're the
they have a
same
motivation.
motivated sellers that
Yeah.
you got. The husband died, the wife wants out.
The business is going down the drain, the building's in
The
disrepair.
business has failed.
That's
There's
all.
no money
That's,
for the roof.
there's motivation.
There's taxes mounting. It's the same.
It's all kinds of things. But it's just
The only
magnified.
difference is a quicker death for them than houses because they're, you know, smaller numbers.
I mean, that building, I go back to the building in Madison Heights, that industrial building. The roof was so bad.
How bad was it?
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, the way. Don't listen to this. Listen how they handled the bad roof.
There's an area about 50 by 100. And I don't know what kind of tarp he had. It was a blue tarp. I'm not sure what size. He had it hanging from the roof purlins, the structural end. And all it down to a, came down to a head here, and he had to cut a hole, and he tied a clamp on it in a garden hose. So all the water would fall in the tarp, run down the garden hose, and go in the drain. And it was soaking, constant water dripping on the tarp inside the building. So it was like a rainforest. And the guy was working in there because he goes, I can't afford to fix the roof. That's how bad the roof was. And the guy, he goes, I gotta get out of here. I gotta sell this building. People come in, they look at that, and they walk right back out. Because they go, 120 grand for a new roof. Oh, I'm not paying it. I pay it. He wouldn't budge on his price. That was just kind of his problem. He had to list it for like 3 years. It's 600, then he went to 3. Then he went to 5, and went to 4. And right at 3 is when that was the breaking point. That's the number I wanted. But I told Mark that's when some other hawk came flying in with big wingspan, and the people we were involved with were supposed to do it, and he said, nah, you know what? Too much work. So if you go there now, it's got a new roof, it's all painted, and it's got tenants in it. Because you're buying it so cheap, you can't lose. That's the point. It's like,
do you find that there's an area that you won't look?
honestly, no.
Is there any specifics when
Well,
you're looking?
if it's an area where there's a lot of empty warehouses, like parts of Romulus, there's no tenant demand.
Right.
But again, the broker will tell you that. They'll say, no, I can't.
We don't have a lot of interest in office.
No, just industrial. I look at industrial or commercial. Retail being commercial. Could be a little office building or a smoke shop or some kind of a retail use. Because that pays $12 a foot, no matter where it is. So that's $12 rent. That's $1 a square foot a year. You can't really lose on that. Because again, it's a simple building. It's blocked. It's got a flat roof, a concrete floor, and a bathroom in the corner. And the tenant takes care of all the build out inside. You say, you're leasing it, it's yours. Here's the keys. They do the interior build out, that's all their expense. And again, management, if you want to manage it yourself, it's simple too, but in my opinion, I kind of, on the fence about that. If you want to, you could, because there's so many different methods now to make it easier, but I like having a property management company because in commercial, they don't charge 3%. They don't charge 10, because it's simple. You do it for 3. Some might even do it for less now. So really your best job, you're not being a manager, is to go out, go find another building. The management company manages for 3%, so $3,000 comes in, how much you pay a month? So then they deal with the tenants, make sure the grass is cut, they get all the quotes for the grass cut, and you get 3 quotes. They get 3 quotes to get the snow plowed. They have 3 quotes to do a physical inspection of the roof and maintain the roof. And then they show you all the quotes and you choose which one you want. But they do all that legwork for you. They monitor the leases when they're going to expire, and then they make sure the tenant signs a new lease for 3%.
Yeah, and they also know, like, you know, if you should be raising rents.
Yeah, and if say one tenant is on the edge, you know, they'll say, well, we got another guy to go in. This guy's his lease is up in a year. We're setting up somebody, so in a year we got another tenant will take that spot. Again, your job, your highest and best, in my opinion, is go find another building. Don't get tied up with doing the management. Even though it is simple, like I said, it's better just to outsource the management at 3%. 3% of $3,000 a month is how much? Is your time worth more than $90 a month to do everything I just mentioned above? It's not worth it.
So, on the hotels you want to chase in Florida, how are you chasing them right now?
The hotels and apartment buildings, I just basically started going straight up to Google and just on a certain class, looking for like Class A, B. I started looking at all the different apartment buildings. Wow.
They're out there, but their price is going to be high.
Yeah, they want Class
Again,
A,
you're going to have
Class
to
B.
buy something at a 2 or a 3 cap, and there's no return. I mean, Pat did a presentation last night. It was a different event we're at, but you can't come out.
They hold and then sell out the boat.
You got to hold a long time. Hold 7 or 8 years.
Culturally, there's like 2 major cultures that are controlling that market.
Yes.
So you'd be better off to be able to somehow connect inside those cultures, and because they're gonna really know where the deals are. I can talk to you more privately about it, but
that's fine.
Yeah, it's off market. That's an off market network.
Yeah. The other off network market would be her access with some of the tools she's got to be able to find owners that then I don't know how you'd research like in Florida you're going to have a lot of older people home most likely too, so yeah, illness and other things could affect the motivation. So, I don't know. I try to figure out a approach with that.
Yeah, it's a new pool.
Yeah.
But I like new pools. A lot more money.
Yeah.
There's opportunity in any class of it, commercial industrial. You just got to learn that class or that segment. Become an expert in that. If you want to acquire A and B property class, that's very competitive buyer and seller market. But honestly, I would try to in Florida, find a C class that's half empty. And have your investor figure out what needs to be done, and he puts up the money to do it. To make it 100% full. Got bad tenants, or the roof's bad, they got a bunch of dogs and a bunch of fleas. I don't know what the problem is. The pool's cracked, or they got a gang in there. You gotta go in and just get the gang out, just evict everybody. But that's the upside, because you already got a structure there. You just gotta clean out the tenant mix and re-tenant.
It's kind of like the one up there in Midland, the old Holiday Inn up there that they closed down that you can see. Right there.
Yeah.
No, up in Midland, right up there by the Dow Gardens.
Okay.
Yeah, they built a new one and just abandoned the old one. So there it sits.
Right.
The structure's there. I mean, everything's still there.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of creepy about it.
Right.
The old
Holiday
Inn.
Bulldoze it.
Yeah. sitting there.
Is it like dated?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
Still, it's a value. It's a value. Someone's paying taxes on it.
the brick building is still there.
Yeah.
How again, bro? Whoever
There might
whoever was
be,
the owner
there might
land.
be grant money sitting around nobody's looked at.
Yeah, Midland. I don't know. There might be.
Well, you got Dow Gar, like I said, you got Dow
There's
Chemical,
an
Dow
attorney
Gardens
that
up
would
there.
know.
Right. Yeah, there's all kinds of different things.
But you don't realize that until you're driving past, and then you think about it like, hey, what about that hotel? You know?
Right.
And you
Why is it
drive-
empty?
Yeah, exactly.
There was one in Livonia too, I think. It was a branded hotel and it closed for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, financial reasons or right by the freeway, just sitting there.
By 96 or by I-275?
I think it's by 96. Forget where, right by it's all.
Isn't it over there by the old, you know, the Detroit Raceway?
Yeah.
Over there, yeah.
You can tell there's no cars there. In the buildings, there's no lights on.
Yeah, by the Ladbroke over there.
Again, you got to find out who owns it and what the problem is. I guess some group out of New York, they bought the big hotel in Dearborn. And last fall, the city shut it down because they didn't maintain it. They didn't maintain the elevators and the sprinkler system. They shut it right down.
Not the Ritz.
No, there's a big gold.
Fairlane or whatever it is there.
Yeah, whatever the hotel was, all gold glass.
Yeah.
They shut it down. They padlocked it.
On Michigan Ave.
Yes.
Yeah. It just sits there. They said the taxes are delinquent and they weren't going to pay it. The building got unsafe for the public, so the city went and locked it down. And it's closed. They bought it for nothing, I think. But they didn't put the money into the infrastructure that the city required, so they just shut it down.
But I bet there's probably grant money there to turn
There
around
probably
and do it.
is. Yeah. I said they're there. You just gotta kind of sort through it and do the legwork, due diligence. Go ahead.
How would you find the grant money?
Nick Blue.
He-
Yeah, he knows all the grant monies that are available.
That's what he does. He's
Yep.
in Bloomfield. I mean, that's his name. Let me see. I think that's his number in my head. This is office number 248 203 98 98.
What about in Bloomfield?
He's on Woodward Avenue, north of Square Lake.
We can send out all his contact information.
Yeah, because I'm off of Telegraph.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was wondering.
Just north of that.
The lawyer office.
But he's on the. If you're on the 27 meetup site,
Well, I'm looking at the joint.
it's all on there. His presentation's on there. He spoke about a month ago,
Yeah, he's.
and his
Ton
whole
of information.
presentation was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And talked about what he does, how he does it, and he gave examples of what he does for clients.
Yeah, it's something you'd want to watch.
Yeah, he's
I
an
mean,
incredible guy. Just because of his background, he worked for a big engineering firm and doing environmental. And then he said, "Ah, you know what? I better be an attorney." Now he's got the perfect credentials. I said he knows all the game, all the different packages, and what's available, what's not, how to apply, and what works and doesn't work. I don't know all that stuff. You can't know everything. Pat mentioned that last night. In commercial, it's a lot different than residential because you have to have a team. Beyond just contractors, I got a painter, I got a guy who puts in kitchens, I got a guy who does tile. That's all you need. You don't need all the technical people. In commercial, you gotta have technical people because it's a technical industry.
Call the business brokers in Florida, because they're marketing businesses, and sometimes those are listed because somebody's died or married.
Was the Hyatt that closed?
Does that make
Yeah, the Hyatt.
Okay,
The
that's
Hyatt
it.
at Fairlane there.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Not
a huge
realtors,
place.
business brokers.
Oh,
Restaurants, that's a huge.
Yep, the Hyatt at Fairlane, right.
I know Fairlane Model's not doing good either. It's got a
No,
lot
they're
of
not.
tenants, or it's almost empty. It's like 50% empty. When you go in there and it's got the store's boarded up, it
There's
signs
one
it's
here
coming
in
soon.
Michigan that leads with a second.
Just doing a closer transition.
May 2nd in Novi, go to the meeting.
Yeah, they're in Northville there.
Yeah, you just gotta find motivation. That's just like housing, it's no different. It's just bigger fish.
But that would be all off the market kind of stuff.
Right. Any size, you can do 3,000 to 4,000 feet and up. Most industrial buildings aren't any smaller than that. Like, I'd say 4,000 and up. It's hard to find something small. Usually they're 10, 20, 30,000 foot. Boston, Berkeley, Ferndale, Royal Oak. Those are all the cities that had all the tool and die shops and the supply shops and the warehousing for all the automotive industry, like I said, which is coming back with a vengeance to Metro Detroit. So all those businesses are coming back. So all those buildings got to be occupied. You got to find buildings to lease. So there's a shortage of industrial buildings. Because again, to build a new industrial building today is like over $70 a foot, and it's a pretty simple building. It's on a slab. You got a parking lot, and now you have to meet these water retention standards. When whatever water falls on your property, you got to store it in tanks under the parking lot, which in the past you never had to do that. But now that's a new regulation we build new. So you got a block building, a flat roof. It's just a new law. It's just a water retention law. After 24 hours, there's a little valve and it turns on itself and it goes into city sewer. But again, older buildings, you don't have to do that. You're buying it grandfathered, you're just going to paint it, maybe resurface the parking lot, restripe it, or you get the heavy power in. Well, if it's over 12,000 feet, you got to sprinkle it. Under 12, there's no sprinkler required.
Well, I was saying, what if you was that's a shopping mall and has fire damage?
Right.
Would that be, because you gotta repair it?
Usually a fire building, unless it's not, if it's smoke damage, you can fix it. If it's fire, you got to tear it down. Because structurally, it's trashed.
Okay.
That's probably why it's still there. They probably didn't have insurance, and they had a fire. Now the city's going to force them to, by at gunpoint, to tear it down, or the city will tear it down and put the demo onto the tax bill. That's what will happen. So obviously the owner didn't have insurance; he wouldn't have lived it like that. They probably just left, had a fire, and they left. They don't have the money to repair it or rebuild it.
Hey Walter, I got a mission for you. Go to the business brokers meeting on the 2nd of May.
In Northville.
Business brokers do not have real estate license.
They don't?
They don't. Inside a business transaction, there's usually a lot of times real estate involved. So a lot of them have real estate license. But you have enough resources in that arena that you shouldn't have an issue. So you just need to go there, but you're gonna go there and they're gonna say, what property you have listed or what property are you brokering. You're not. You're there representing buyers for hotels, and you're there to talk about the hotels that they're looking for and what conditions. And you've also got some buyers that are looking for industrial properties.
Okay.
So in the business brokers meeting, the mistake they make as a business broker is they discuss their seller's motivation. So they're going to tell you stuff that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be telling you. Like, my seller's husband died, and my seller has cancer, and stuff like that, that tells you what you need to know. Because I think they're brokering.
The business one.
So you're gonna find stuff locally, is what I'm telling you, or Michigan, plus they can lead you to the people you need to find in Florida too.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Yes, they meet on the first Thursday in Northville.
7 mile road there.
Yeah, 7 mile. Yeah, it is. The Michigan Association, it's the MBBA.
They're probably gonna let you come to a couple meetings, no charge, or one meeting. You can call ahead of time.
Okay.
And,
That's the Metro chapter.
but if you're gonna go there, I wouldn't mind having a conversation with you.
They meet at Rockies. Rockies.
Oh, yeah.
Rockies of Northville. Yeah. It's 9:30 to 12:30. The first Thursday of every month. What's that? 9:30. Yep. Kind of brunchy.
If we had a meeting and we were giving out the leads and that, would you guys be interested in being part of the team, Jason and stuff?
Sure. Any other questions for anyone about industrial, commercial, or turnarounds, or any things that you're kind of unsure of, or even any other topics about commercial? None of be about industrial or commercial.
So just to go over the process again, you got a lead. You then talk to the city assessor, see the value of it.
Well, they give you a card that gives you all the data on the property. It's just part of your things to put in your folder.
Okay.
But you just gotta get to the owner and find out what they're willing to sell, and at what price. Okay, what would you sell it for? You don't tell them the number.
Right. You can talk to the broker.
Broker or the owner. I rather deal with the owner, but if it's listed, then deal with the broker.
Or just so the broker should already have tenants that would be interested in.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Okay.
You wouldn't talk to the listing broker for the property being sold. You find another broker in that dimension, whether it's industrial property or commercial property. What could you rent this type of property for in this zip code? And they'll tell you. They'll say, "Oh, we got $12 a foot," or we got a tenant right now that needs 3,500 feet.
Okay. And then that's again, I would talk to you.
Yeah, just email me any questions or comments, whatever you want. I'll reply back to you.
Okay.
Don't do that or do this. Or, yeah, it's a game like housing. I said, just different terms, different people. That's all. It's no different. You just don't have as much competition, honestly, because everyone changes houses. You don't see a show called Flip This Commercial.
No.
Ever seen any?
No.
Gee, why is that? I wonder why that is.
Because it's the best kept secret. That's why.
If this was on wholesale tonight, we'd have the room full. But if it's on commercial.
It scares a lot of people, I think, because it's such a greater scale,
Does it doesn't now as much, does it, really?
Well, the funny part is, I go back to when I was bird dog before you back in the day, and I did commercial. I was like, I already did that. I forgot. It's just the same. You just write it up.
Yeah. It's no different.
But I think people think, millions and,
Yeah, and then look at all the warehouses up and down the street that are sitting vacant. That's not rocket science. You just find out who the owner is.
And a lot of it could be owned by the state. You'll find that out too. You might not pay the taxes. After 3 years, it goes to the county.
So what about I saw a property once that was being sold, and they already had one of the tenant was the state. I think it was like a secretary of state or something like that. Is that would that be?
No, it's still landlord owns it. They're leasing it from the money.
Yeah, they do that life lease, like a 100-year lease. Post office, all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was my question. I guess I was concerned. Like, well, I they decide they
Oh,
want
you
to
were-
what's the likelihood that
Very
Yeah.
slim.
He just
Like
joined.
lightning hitting in two spots at the same
Go ahead,
time.
Roy.
They just, usually they're in there for life. They sign a lease, like Maureen said, it's usually up to a 100-year lease. They don't. Like post office, the same way. They're all privately owned. They lease into the post office. Everything in DC is all, except for the White House, they're all rental buildings. The feds don't own anything. They lease them all from landlords. Everything's owned by real estate investors. They just pay rent.
oh yeah,
They're all tenanted buildings. Well, probably not the Supreme Court. I know the White House is government owned and the Supreme Court property, but everything else they rent. All the post offices are all privately owned. They rent it to the postal service. They don't pay a lot of rent, but they're long-term lease. $3 or $4 a foot. You can look up post office for lease. You can find them for sale. They sell them. Investors sell them. Remember those Adonis? He would buy. This was back 10 years ago. He would buy post offices nationwide. Buy up the lease. The owner that owned the land, owned the building, and then he would just wait and wait for the lease to be renewed, and they renew the lease, double the rent. Even if the rent's at $2, when it's up, we're gonna get the chance to up the rent. Double to $4. He would buy it at $2 from the previous owners. The previous owners had enough of this. I just want to get out. Again, there's always motivation.
it was actually Curtis in Southfield, and I was talking to the broker and I had to call him back up, but it was basically, he said it was triple net, and it's the woman she stayed out in the country, the husband was in New York, and she just needed the money. So, and like you said, for triple net, they was paying everything on it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just some motivation. They want to sell the property. It's no different. Just motivation. Everyone has motivations, no matter when. Yeah, there's so much interconnectivity with that. Okay. I guess that's it for tonight. Is there any other questions? And just push to 9 o'clock, and Mark's going to probably wrap it up here.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
Butterfingers to you.
Yeah, I got in.
You're welcome. There you go.
So this is my spill, like, getting a real estate license is a really good thing to have. There's two places that I would go to get it, near George, because they're Middleton, one of the two of them. They both are experienced and know what they're doing. Do not go online and sign up for a course to take the license, because they're teaching stuff for multi-states, and you want to go local to do it.
Namir does online classes.
He
Yes,
does,
online.
but he's got it geared towards
Michigan.
Michigan.
But if you go online and sign up for a course that's being for more than one state, you're just gonna wear yourself out.
Yeah, your book's like this thing
Yeah.
instead of like this.
And then, Walt knows that I have a real estate company. But if I was brand new starting out in this business, I would sign up with Maureen, because she does training, and they're a brokerage that is one of the first in the state that has, the agents pay no commission. The broker gets no commissions, the agent gets 100% of the commissions. And they charge a very nominal,
It's your transaction fee.
transaction fee. So, but the thing that's best about this place is there's a cajillion other real estate investors that are geared towards investment properties, and and she does ongoing training, so it's a good place to be, get a real estate license. I guess we're done. That's who they're not going for. Could you go back to